and I know it's true. I'm here alone without you. Without you.
Been a while. It's been a little bit since we've done this. Hi everybody, it's Tyler McVicker, the Passionate Gamer. How are we doing today? Welcome to Letting Off Steam. We gotta let off some steam. Q&A, AMA type stream that we do, or we're supposed to do every month and we don't. I don't even remember the last time we've done this, but here we are. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Tyler McVicker, the Passionate Gamer. I'm going to be taking your questions. And feel free to send them. We're going to answer them in the order that they came. And I started taking questions about 3 days ago. So there are quite a few of them to get through. But yeah, we announced that. Oh, hello. Hello? Shit. Hold on. We announced that we were doing this stream about 3 days ago. Hi. Yeah, so just cut. Okay, there you go. And then I want to turn off the monitor because I don't want to leak email addresses. Cool. All right. So we're going to go in the order that we got these questions. 50 SEK. Tyler, my dude. Hope you and everybody watching have an awesome day. Hunt down to Freeman 2. When JK. And that's from Skill Chill. I don't know how much 50 SEK is worth, but thank you very much for the 50 of it, of the SEK. Hunt down Freeman 2? I don't know. You tell me. But yeah, so where's the first question? Here. All right, it's right there. All right, so the way that this works, SEK is Swedish. It's about $5. Thank you so much. It's like a McRib. You know, if I were to convert that into American, it's about worth one McRib. Yeah. So if you want to be able to send questions, it is tylernewsnetwork@gmail.com. If you want to send your own questions over, that's how you do it. You send a question through email, tylernewsnetwork@gmail.com. And we are going to be going in the chronological order that they were sent. So the questions that were first sent on April 27th, April 28th, and April 29th are going to be answered before the questions that are asked today. If you want to get your question answered as soon as possible, ASMB, then you're going to want to, then the way to do that is through a super chat. So, feel free to support the channel through a super chat of sorts, if you can. Don't feel pressured to do so. But if you really, really want your question answered today, that's how, if you really, really want your question answered right now, that's how you go about doing that. So, doink, 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 doink. All right, we've announced that we are live. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, everybody. We're going to wait a couple of minutes. People filter in, people to send their questions. I'm going to tell you about what I've been up to, what I've been working on. If the mic cuts out, I apologize. This mic is very old now, because tech is not built to last. And this tech is 6 years old, which is too old in tech years. And just the slightest... the slightest touch of that, just the slightest touch of that, it's gone. And there's some stuff in the room I want to show you. Tyler, are you aware of the Satan Burger? First thing I want to show you. Oh, Portal 2 co-op. Second thing I want to show you. There's a video with Prop Fortress coming soon. Coming very soon. It's taken me too long to create. But to quickly show you, 140 ZAR. Can we ask questions via Super Chat? Oh, wait, you answered that. Can I have my money back? Hello, help? I don't know how much 140 ZAR is. What's the move? It's like... It's that. Oh, yeah. You can ask anything, yeah. I reserve the right to not answer. Do you know what this is? Gentlemen. We haven't dropped a single frame. It's a prop. It's not real. Did I clean my room for the stream? No. No, I didn't. You got TF2 pistol. It's supposed to stay in there, but the button fell out and I got to re-glue it. There's a lot of others. Prop Fortress sent me just a fuck ton of stuff. And they sent it to me months ago, and they've been asking about when the video's coming, and I'm sorry that it hasn't been made yet. I'll show you the most important thing they made. Moo. They made the cow. And then the last thing I want to show you while we wait for people to send their questions in. My dad sent me this one. So this is the Doom the Dark Ages helmet replica. Tyler, your mic is cutting out? So this is the Doom the Dark Ages helmet replica. And mic is cutting out repeatedly. It's not. It's fine. Yeah, so this isn't even out yet. This isn't even out yet. You can't buy this yet. You can pre-order it. I've had this for like a month and a half now. The Doom the Dark Ages helmet. It also came with these patches and this metal, like, key card replica. Thank you, Hugo. All right. So let's get to the questions. Got a QLED monitor today. Can't wait to play Doom the Dark Ages on it. So I know I'm going to get this question, so I'm just going to answer it now. No, review codes for Doom the Dark Ages are not out yet. Haven't gotten one. Okay, so I apparently missed a super chat. No, I didn't. Did I? No, I didn't. How much is 140 ZAR worth? So we're going to go in order of the questions answered, questions asked. And in the order that they were asked, the first one was asked as soon as this was announced on April 27th. I'm not going to name who sent the questions unless the name is specifically in the body of the email and you say in the email that you're okay with me reading your name. I've gotten in trouble in the past for reading the names of people. I've gotten in trouble for reading the names of people in the past. 140 ZAR is $7.50. That's awesome. Fat guy, big water bottle. Okay. Anybody play Mario Strikers Charged before for the Wii? Yeah, the mic, it needs replaced. Give me money for a new mic. They don't make this mic anymore. Fun. All right, this one is from, don't read the name, Half-Life 2 Raising the Bar book when? All right. So, I just had an idea real quick. In order to make this sound and feel more like a video, let's put the music in it. The USB connection could be repaired. I don't know how the hell to get into this thing is the problem, right? All right, obviously we start with so recently. So, back when Half-Life 2's 20th anniversary took place, there were a lot of announcements, all made at once, which is very easy to cause some of the announcements to be buried in the noise of everything. And obviously, the majority of what people were talking about on the day of the 20th anniversary, too loud, the majority of what people were talking about on the day of the 20th anniversary was the archival content showing off things like the SIGGRAPH 2000 footage, which was insane. Danny O'Dwyer's documentary, which also kind of hinted towards there being a new Half-Life game in production. And, music still a bit too loud? And, you know, the fact that Half-Life 2 itself got this big update, and there's a bunch of new quality of life features. There's some, not really new playable content, but the workshop and all that stuff, you know. There's a lot of stuff all happening at the same time. One of the things that was announced was like a reprinting of Half-Life 2 Raising the Bar, the coffee table book that was released back in 2004, I want to say, about the development of Half-Life 2. And that book has been out of print for a very, very, very long time. It's very expensive. Even I don't own a copy. And in the announcement that they made about re-releasing Raising the Bar, they also stated that in Raising the Bar, it would be expanded upon. We don't know by how much, but they announced that it would be expanded upon to include information about the development of the episodes, including episode 3. And I'm sure it would be a lot of the kind of information that existed already in the documentary, but, you know, in book form. The thing about that is, we have no, like, you're asking me, okay, when will it be? I'm going to be real. Probably after Half-Life 3, because I have a feeling that'll be a book. You know, Raising the Bar again. So we're more than likely waiting until after HLX is at least announced. To Jellylord 499, I don't have a question, but could you put this towards the new mic fund? Love your work, man. Thank you so much for the 499. Appreciate that. All right, next question. Is there anything about the plot? I understand some people will be uncomfortable with spoilers, but I am curious. $4.99 from AB147. Half-Life 3 is the only game that's been in development longer than my New Year's resolutions. So, is there anything known about the plot? Yes. I'm not going to tell you. So, I will tell you this. HLX is being playtested so religiously and so widely that there are individuals that'll just talk. And I personally have a policy of avoiding any story-related questions or information wherever possible. So I currently have avoided all of them. But I've been offered it by people whom are trustworthy. And I know that some of my contemporaries have been given it. So there is information out there about the plot. There is no fucking reason, none, to discuss information related to the plot of the next Half-Life game until after the Half-Life game has been out and people have played it. It's one thing to sit here and discuss mechanically how they're going to evolve the franchise. It's another thing entirely to try and to just spoil the story that they're working on. Fuck that. I hate that. Don't do that. So, you know, I'm sure if other creators choose to do what they want to do, then they'll do it. But for right now, like, you're not going to get that from me. I hope I can avoid it, but I know that that's impossible. So, yeah. Keegan with the 70 Czar. I really like that History of Half-Life 3 video you did recently. Thank you. That video took, and I'm not joking, 2 weeks. That video was 70 minutes long in the end. All from opening a blank document on Google Drive to finishing the video took me 2 weeks. It didn't come out for another week after that, but the History of Half-Life 3, that whole documentary was a personal challenge to me to see, okay, I'm going to give myself 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks. You're going to crunch as hard as you can. What is the best thing you can make in this amount of time? And that's what that was. So, I'm personally impressed in my own ability to create what I created in that amount of time. I wish it was done earlier. Because I wish that I had finished it and released it when I planned to. The original plan was for it to come out on the 30th. Because I had an embargo for Doom the Dark Ages on the 31st. And I hadn't uploaded anything that whole month. Because for the first half of the month, I was working on time travel stuff. And then for the second half of the month, I was working on this documentary. And I hadn't uploaded at all, so the algorithm wasn't in my favor. And if I upload an off-topic video, Doom the Dark Ages, you know, it's not going to do incredibly well at all because it's the first video that you've uploaded in a while, like 6 weeks at that point, maybe less, and it's completely off topic, so it's not going to get as many subscribers clicking on it, and so it's not going to get recommended as much. Whereas if I had released the documentary the day prior, that had gotten the algorithm already recommending my content more, and my Doom the Dark Ages video would have done better. And I would have actually made some money in March. So because I didn't upload anything of value to my standard subscribers through March, you know, that means the money that YouTube pays me the following month on the 21st, which is how YouTube pays out, is going to be nothing, and money's going to get tight, you know, so it sucks. But I was already crunching as hard as I could. I was losing my mind, which I knew what was going to happen. I knew what I was doing when I got into it. I couldn't get it done. I just couldn't, because I also had to get the Doom the Dark Ages video done and conduct the interviews and do all that stuff for it. So, yeah. But the video came out. It didn't do as well as I was wanting it to. It hit like 200,000 views in 2 weeks, which is good, especially for my content. But everybody always talks about how, you know, long videos are the meta. And YouTube fucking loves really long videos. I don't think that's the case anymore, because I finally swallowed my pride and made a long video, and it didn't do any better than my normal videos. It did like a little bit better in view count compared to other Half-Life 3 videos. But I'm going to be real with you, in terms of AdSense, it did not make any more money than a video of 10 minutes in length getting the same number of views. So that was actually incredibly disappointing. What am I putting a breath mint in for? You can't smell me. So that was disappointing. 3 days after the video went up, your first 24 hours of AdSense revenue gets published, and it shows you how much you made. And I was so excited, because I was expecting it to be like, you know, at least twice as much as I normally make on a video. No. Nope. So that was disappointing because I really, really wanted the algorithm to prove to me that videos like that are what I should be doing, because I had the most fun making that documentary, making a really long video. And it's like, look, if you want to survive, you got to make more content than just like 1, maybe 2 videos a month when you're my size. So it proved to me that even though that was the most fun I had making a video, it is not what my content should be if I want to continue to live at all with this as my job. So thank you for the 70s triple A with the $5. How far do you think / hope the Aperture Science involvement will go in HLX? So that's the thing, right? If you saw the video that I made about the history of Half-Life 3, the video that I published, the big documentary I just talked about, a good chunk in the middle of the video, from in between the announcement of the Orange Box and about the release of Left 4 Dead 2 in 2009 or 2010, 2009, they were very open about talking about the fact that Episode 3 was going to include Chell as a character. Fun fact, 3 days after the documentary came out, a former Valve employee took some screenshots of leftover Episode 3 files that they had, and it included a folder called Young Chell Head, which means that this person has a model of Chell whom is younger, proving that Portal takes place well after Episode 3. So, like, they had a model for Chell as a character in Episode 3 that was going to communicate and be like a speaking role, right? So, like, they have always been planning to incorporate Chell into the Half-Life franchise. And they've always had the idea of who Chell was as a person and what led Chell to being locked up in Aperture Science. Now, some people have suggested, you know, well, I mean, that was the original idea. They did Portal 2, so that, like, rewrote the canon. They can't do it anymore. And it's not true, because this little leak proved, I wish Hugo Martin was my dad. Hugo Martin was my dad, was my dad. The only reason I have a working relationship with id Software, Bethesda, and Microsoft because I made a fucking meme song about game director of Doom Eternal, Hugo Martin, and how I wish he was my father. Live your dreams, kids. Don't stay in school. Don't do drugs. Episode 3 and the stuff related to Gordon Freeman and Chell and Alex Vance takes place significantly earlier than Portal 1. She's been in stasis. Something happened and put her in stasis. Portal 2 doesn't change what they were planning to do with Episode 3. And as of right now, the canon still sits at Gordon Freeman standing in the helicopter hangar. The only thing that's changed is the person that you're standing in the hangar with, right? We're still there. It's been nearly 20 years, but we're still standing in that room. Gordon needs to walk outside of that room and continue the story. And that's what he's going to do. But the story was always intended to include Chell as a speaking character. Whether or not they decide to keep that aspect of it is up in the air. But we still have the same writer. The main writer of Portal 1 was Eric Wolpaw. The main writer of Episode 2 was Mark Laidlaw, Chet Falisak, and Eric Wolpaw. Eric Wolpaw is still a writer on this project. So those ideas are still there. Those ideas, they're still... We love them! The ideas. Do you know what I mean? I hope that answers the question. What do I think the involvement with Aperture Science will be? I think Chell will be a character in Half-Life 3. That's my guess. Because it was always intended to be that way. Alright, from somebody, SAR10. I don't know how much 10 SAR is worth, but thank you. Huzzah! Will you keep this VOD up? I think so. Unless I say something stupid. 50 euros? Good lord. 50 euros, that's like enough to fill a tank of gas. That's enough for like 2 dozen eggs! Go Madden! Go Madden to you too, Nils. Oh, God. Hello? Dom with the $5. You've said you believe that the announcement will be without much fanfare, but do you really don't think Jeff is going to be able to talk Gabe into going big? Again, okay, so we've had this conversation about the announcement of a project and how it can coincide with something related to Jeff Keighley. I'm going to repeat what I said in the video that caused all these tomatoes to be thrown at me and people to say Tyler lied, people died. Valve owes Jeff. Period. They just do. Do they still think they owe him? Is a different story. But from the outside looking in, Jeff Keighley was supposed to have the first gameplay of the first Half-Life game in 13 years at his show, and Valve canceled. Valve pulled the gameplay at a very, very, very late stage in production of the Game Awards. The gameplay they were preparing for the Game Awards came out like 2 months later, maybe a month and a half. That was supposed to be like a big deal. And I mean, like, yes, Keighley is like the guy who gets access during development and interviews, and there will definitely be a final hours of Half-Life 3, which is in and of itself kind of Valve repaying that. So it's up in the air. What would have to happen for Valve to be able to announce a project at one of Jeff's events or any event is that the event needs to coincidentally happen at the same time that Valve wants to make an announcement. And that is rare. That is a total crapshoot. And Valve has already proven to themselves that they don't need that. Valve is infamous enough on their own that they don't need a third party of any kind to drive hype. Not to toot my own horn, but that's partially because people like me and Gabe Follower exist. That's partially because anytime Valve does anything, every single journalist writes an article that uses Half-Life in the title for SEO, specifically because they know that gets clicks. Valve is a self-cleaning oven. Valve doesn't need third parties, and Valve understands that they don't need third parties because Half-Life Alyx was announced through a tweet. Deadlock was announced through leaks and pressure to then announce it. Underlords was announced through a tweet. Like, I don't think there's been a project from Valve since Artifact that wasn't just announced kind of small on a social media platform. And I think Artifact turned Valve off from making big announcements, even though, of course, this is the thing everybody wants. So being able to have that audience reaction recorded, there's value to that. So it honestly can go either way. But it's not like I have information of like, oh, well, I mean, HLX will be at SGF or whatever. And it's like, I hope not. I don't want to sit through that. Jeff, I don't like these shows. All right. Rodney, 10 New Zealand dollars, I think. Thanks for all your coverage, Tyler. Thank you for your $10, Rodney. 70 Czar from Keegan. With all these people yapping about playtesting Half-Life 3, can you say whether or not the game is VR? The game is not VR. Half-Life 3 is not a VR title. Thank you for the 70 Czar. $10 from Cray. Because Portal 2 takes place in the distant future, does it technically prove the Combine do lose the war with Earth? No. Because the only glimpse of Earth that we have is of a cornfield. Or a wheat field. That doesn't prove a damn thing. Literally nothing. Because it's like... Well, actually... Actually, hold on. Half-Life Alyx... Oh, wait. Oh, I think I just thought of a plot hole. Okay, so Aperture Science, the facility, is in Michigan. Right? Aperture Science is in Michigan. Half-Life Alyx shows that all of North America is gone. Maybe not gone, but written off. That's, yeah, okay. So there's like, in Alex's hideout, at the start of Half-Life Alyx, there's a globe with a big-ass red X through all of North America. And I mean, like, all of the known cities are in not North America. And they relocated everybody to not North America. But, so, yeah, Aperture Science is in Michigan, the United States state of Michigan. And when when Chell rides the elevator up and then is kicked out of that outhouse-looking thing, just in a wheat field, I will say, blue skies, beautiful view, vista, and wheat. A wheat field. Wheat is growing. So, maybe that does suggest it? It's a good question. That's a good question. Or maybe it's not even Earth. Maybe it's not even the Earth we are aware of. You know, like maybe the Borealis isn't there. Maybe something happens that teleported the facility into a different timeline, or I don't know. I don't know. All right, Zazel Eyes with the $20. Want to say I love your work. It's important and appreciated. Half-Life 3 doc was fantastic. Thank you. I know you want to try to avoid story, but do you think the procedural generation / replayability focus will be connected to the story? Much love. Okay, so the procedural generation and replayability, also much love, is misunderstood by the general public. The way that Valve is going about doing that is akin to taking the director of Left 4 Dead 2 and making it significantly more powerful. It's not changing geometry. It's instead changing entity placement, right? So what is considered an entity in this context? Doors, physics props, enemies, items, or NPCs of any kind. So that could be like enemy types, like neutral or friendly AI, but it won't build an entirely new level, at least according to how we understand the system. This will be a video soon. Do I think the procedural generation is going to be part of the story? I don't think so, because the procedural generation that's taking place there is not so overt that it needs an explanation. It's not like, Alex, Gordon, every time you enter that building, Zen energy makes it a different building. It's just like, when you play a chapter, the placement of specific things will be slightly different, and also will react to how you play. You have that in Half-Life Alyx to a very small extent, but it's the distribution of resources other than resin. Resin is, in Half-Life Alyx, resin is placed, and it's permanent. But ammo changes based on what weapons you're using, right? So, and that's easily done by, you know, it's in the crates. What spawns in the crates is based on your behavior, but placed ammo is in the world that's not in the crate is permanent. It's just that, but much, much, much larger. In the same way that, like, the Left 4 Dead director chooses where pills are, where weapons are, where ammo is, where witches spawn, where special infected show up. It's that, but now it has the ability to place large amounts of items as blockages towards certain paths, place doors in certain places. Is this door locked? Is this door unlocked? But it's not procedural generation how most people think, like Starfield, where it's this level is, well, it's not like Starfield. I mean, it kind of is. Like, it's not Binding of Isaac. It's not a different level every time. It's not Minecraft. It's not making geometry on the fly. The levels are the levels, right? It's just how is the game going to adjust those levels based on multiple factors. Like, what difficulty are you playing on? How have you been playing? Not in the way of, like, as far as I can tell, not dynamic difficulty in the way of, like, oh, wow, you suck. Let's make it easier. It's instead just, like, okay, you're using the pistol a lot, so let's give you more pistol ammo to support that. Or, you know, like Doom Eternal would do the opposite of that, where it's like, oh, you're using the plasma gun a lot. Let's give you more shotgun shells because you need to be doing more resource management. Or let's give you less plasma ammo to incentivize using the other weapons. Does that explain does that, I'm going to check the, does that explain what I'm talking about? It's not a roguelike. They're not doing procedural level generation. No. I don't even think the system, as we currently understand it and as it currently exists within the code, supports procedural level generation. I mean, C. Marty, if you're here, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the system supports procedural geometry generation. You know what I mean? All right, what was the last question I answered? Oh God, did I miss a super chat? Is there a way to just look at the... Yes. Okay, hold on. What was the question I just answered? Can you turn on your web portals? Where's the question about procedural generation? Okay, $10 from... I'm confused. $10 from Super Gamer Games. Can you turn on your webcam? It's just black. Also, this game has really amazing graphics. What is it? I know that this says game, and that says webcam. I wish I could change it, okay? But I lost the PSD, okay? Noodlebot with 45 DKK. Do you think we might see Black Mesa again? Either in time travel stuff or visions? Again, that's story related. So I'm not operating on spoilers or anything. So everything I say is a guess. Do I think we're going to see Black Mesa in some aspect in Half-Life 3? Yeah, probably. Do I think it's going to be like a level where it's a flashback and you're in the Black Mesa research facility again? That would be awesome. I would love to see it. Probably not. But who knows? Dimitri, €2. Half-Life Alyx at the time versus HLX. Which had more leaks? Half-Life Alyx. Half-Life Alyx. At this point, I knew the ending. At this point, I knew pretty much every major gameplay aspect of it. And, like, at this point, I had screenshots. So, like, yeah, Half-Life Alyx. Oh, I need a new mic. Okay. What? I don't know how to say your name, but you donated 10 PLN. Would HLX compare to EP as 2013 Half-Life 3 as a game? Oh, how would Half-Life 3 compare to episode 3 in 2013 Half-Life 3? So for those that are, I don't know. So for those that are unaware, Half-Life 3 has been attempted multiple times. Many times, in fact. At last count, like 7. But the majority of the times that anybody tries to start that project, it doesn't even get past pre-production, right? The only times that the game got past pre-production and entered legitimate production was twice. And that includes episode 3, right? There's episode 3, there's 2013 Half-Life 3, and then you can argue there was another attempt of like possible production of picking up 2013 Half-Life 3 again in like 2015, 2016, but that didn't get very far either. But it got further enough for there to be some evidence of it. How would it compare? We already know it's comparing quite favorably in terms of like reusing aspects of it, at least mechanically. We don't have like, and again, this will be a video one day, but we don't have weaponizer. For those that are familiar with episode 3 mechanics, we don't have weaponizer, we don't have the ice gun, as far as we know, but we do have the procedural generation type stuff. That was all 2013 Half-Life 3, right? So there are mechanically aspects of the game, as we currently understand it, in the modern iteration of it, that very much existed in 2013 and 2014 during the development of the first Half-Life 3, as described in the final hours of Half-Life Alyx, right? Not enough. It definitely should have went in more. I do not think that the conversation about like the previous iterations of Half-Life and what they tried to do went into enough. And I do have a theory that they were like, Jeff, we're not going to tell you too much about that because we're absolutely going to reuse some of this stuff, because by the time the final hours of Half-Life Alyx was published, they were already working on stuff. They already were like, let's keep going. Let's do something else. So, yeah. Procedural generated G-Man sightings. Now that's interesting. That's from Mr. Rari, £5 sterling. Yeah, I think so. I think that's actually quite interesting. Yes, I think that's possible. I think that G-Man sightings could be random. And in fact, could fit the lore of the game. In that, well, I didn't see a G-Man there. Well, the G-Man exists in multiple timelines at once and all that shit. That could be interesting. I honestly, I've never thought of that before. I honestly think that's going to happen. That's very cool to think about. Procedural G-Man sightings. That's cool. All right, $10 from Dom. In regards to the community, where do you think the younger fans are coming from? The Reddit is full of teens doing cosplay and scientists and soldiers. Is Skibidi Toilet doing that much lifting? It's not just Skibidi Toilet that's doing that. It's definitely part. Look, it's definitely partially Skibidi Toilet. You know? Like, you can't deny that Skibidi Toilet, I mean, it's not as big as it was, but, you know, those are all just Half-Life 2 assets for the most part, right? And so people are going to see that and then kind of want to know what it's from. Some people, at least. I don't think Skibidi Toilet's been around long enough to, like, have people age and look at it nostalgically in a realistic manner. But I definitely think that Skibidi Toilet introduced some kids to the Half-Life franchise. I also think Gmod is still huge with the younger kids that have computers. I know this is anecdotal and doesn't speak to anything, but I have a 10-year-old nephew whom has a computer and predominantly plays on like Roblox and Minecraft and Geometry Dash of all things. But this kid heard that I knew Gary and freaked out. And I didn't know that my nephew played Gary's Mod. I didn't know that kids played Gary's Mod. I'm not a big Gary's Mod guy. You know, I don't really participate in that. But like, yeah, I've spoken to Gary Newman. I have his email address and shit. Like, you know, I'm like, yeah. He was mean to me once publicly, and has apologized. But you know, that's an experience. Yeah, and so like I like talking to my nephew, and he's like, yeah, everybody plays like Gmod. Everybody plays Gmod. I'm like, what do you play in Gmod? And he's like, well, we play Gmod. And it's like, okay, I don't know what game modes you're playing, but okay, that's awesome. Hell yeah. And he's like, yeah, and it's like the Skibidi Toilet guys are in Gmod. Like, okay, yeah. And I think like as he gets a little bit older, he'll be like, okay, well, in order to play Gmod, I need this Half-Life 2 thing. I need this Counter-Strike Source thing. What are these? And I told him, like, you know, well, those characters are from a game called Half-Life 2, but you're too young to play it, so. But I think Gary's Mod specifically is doing a lot of that heavy lifting. And I also think the fact that for the longest time, the Valve characters, because of Source Filmmaker and because of Gary's Mod, were kind of ubiquitous in just online culture in general, you know, where a lot of memes would be born out of just people making animations and stuff. Like, here's some Dunkin' Donuts because you're epic, or you know, Pooties, or Nope, or I'm not thinking of a lot of others, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So that's that. I think that, you know, it's just the fact that the culture has embraced Valve characters as long as they have, and they've become so ubiquitous with just the iconography of the Western internet. So, I mean, there you go, you know? To Jelly Lord 499, you've talked about this in the past, but what are your genuine thoughts on the ending of Half-Life Alyx and how it changed things? So I've talked about this, and I think it splits the timeline into two universes, you know. Being that Half-Life Alyx isn't actually taking place before Half-Life 2 as we know it, but because of the vault, it merges it into the universe, with the inflection point being the, you know, Eli Vance event. That's my opinion. So, you know, because you effectively take two different Alex Vances and remove them both from their respective time, right? Because it's like, otherwise it's a time paradox, because it's like, okay, Alex Vance in pre-Half-Life 2 goes into the vault, never to be seen again. Alex Vance, post-Half-Life 2, is taken away from the helicopter hangar, never to be seen again. Though that can't happen, because so like you can make the argument, well, it's like, well, I mean, she was in the vault and then she's not there. She's not there because she's in the vault. And it's, no, that's not true, because Eli is aware that Alex is gone in that moment, meaning she was there. And also, if Alex isn't in Half-Life 2, then Gordon fucking dies. Ha! No, you don't! Dr. Freeman, I presume. That would never fucking happen. He would have died in his street clothes before making it to Dr. Kleiner's office. Period. Dr. Kleiner's lab. So, it needs to be two separate two timelines merging into one, with the inflection point being the end of episode 2. Otherwise, the entirety of Half-Life 2 and the episodes don't work. They don't happen. Gordon is killed by the Combine in his civvies in that weird building that he jumps into because he's like ambushed on both sides. It just doesn't happen. That's my opinion. So how does it change the timeline? By introducing an element of alternate realities, which is a problem because that is like a huge plot hole city for most writers. So how do they resolve all of that? I don't know. You know, unless they're willing to be like, well, no, you're right, Half-Life 2 never happened. And it's like, okay, but then how are we standing here in the hangar? There's a dead advisor right there. Dog is right there. Eli's right there. I'm sure Kleiner and Magnuson are over there. Like, I'm sure Barney's still out there somewhere. Like, how does any of that happen without Alex rescuing Gordon at the top of Half-Life 2? Period. You know, if you have a solution to that, I'd love to hear other theories, but other theories don't take into account that if Half-Life Alyx is in the same timeline as Half-Life 2, then Half-Life 2 doesn't exist. Not without some, like, major events taking place in between Half-Life Alyx and Half-Life 2. Okay. 199 from Tabry. Does Valve think much about GTA 6 at all? I'm sure. Okay. I'm sure they do take into consideration we don't want to release in the same 2-week period as GTA 6. Obviously. No game developer, even Valve, wants to compete for mental time, like mental space, with GTA 6. Period. You just don't. £5 from Oops-a-Daisy. Have you heard anything about co-op? No. Also, what plot points do you think no leaks will be addressed? What do I think will be addressed? All of it. All of it. This is a Hail Mary. This is a retirement game. They will touch on everything. They will leave some questions open for the next generation to be able to make a Half-Life 4 if they so choose. But a lot of the stuff that they've been stringing people along for the last 20 fucking years, the Borealis, the G-Man, all that shit, it'll be addressed. I'm positive that they will try to address as much of it as possible. Because otherwise, the game will be very, very, very unfulfilling. From Kyle, $1.99. Any clues about core rendering like lighting? Yes. But, like, it's not really fun, you know? There'll be a video. There'll be a video. Thank you for the dono. Game Joker for $5 Canadian. Sometimes it hurts that people know my beloved Half-Life characters as skibbity toilet people. But everything we love must be defaced at some point. Yeah, I mean, the reaction to skibbity toilet has been... I think it's a bit overblown. It's just something that the kids love, you know? And if you don't understand it, you're either, you know... I mean, you could be a kid and not like it. That's fine. But odds are, you're probably my age, or a little bit younger, or older, and be like, it's just heads popping out of toilets, and then guys with TVs as heads or whatever. I don't care. But it's like... I feel like the way that me and you know, people my own age, my peers, looked at Skibbity Toilet and the reaction to Skibbity Toilet, I'm sure that's very similar to the adults of my generation looking at things like Webkins or Silly Bands or maybe even Pokemon and being like, I don't fucking get it. What is the draw of this? Or Guitar Hero, you know? Actually, probably most like Guitar Hero. Because it's like, yeah, these songs are fantastic, but this game is fucking stupid. And it's like, yeah, but it's introducing a whole bunch of kids to, like, old music. It's like, yeah, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's not a big deal. And in the long run, it's going to introduce more people to the source material. In the same way that, you know, Guitar Hero is nowhere near as successful as it was when I was a kid. But my generation fucking loves dad rock. Are you kidding me? And I think Guitar Hero has a lot to do with that. For people my age and how much we love the Beatles and Van Halen and Metallica and shit like that, I'm sure Guitar Hero has a little bit to do with that. I'll tell you, the only reason that I still listen to bands like Muse, Modest Mouse, My Chemical Romance, The Killers, Weezer, I started listening to those bands because of the Silver Sun Pickups, Devo. Oh my god, now that I think about it, a lot of my music taste was formed with Guitar Hero. The Beatles, because of the Beatles rock band, you know. The reason I still listen to those bands, buy the new albums when they come out, have a record collection, is because of Guitar Hero. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? So yes, I do like playing Guitar Hero every once in a while, but, you know, in 10, 20 years, when these kids are older, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Read the emails? Yeah, I have to get through the super chats and then I read the emails. When the super chats run out, then I read the emails. That's how this works. So yeah, Game Joker, I mean, you're entitled to your own opinion, obviously. I think it is a positive thing in the long term in regards to the longevity of the Half-Life franchise and indirectly Valve's own franchises. Lint with the $2. Did he say open your eyes, honey? Dead Tech Logic $5. Is there any more news about HLX? Anything at all? How do we know that it's another Half-Life game anyway? You didn't watch the documentary, did you? So, like, less than a month ago, I published a 70-minute video that answers that question. Any new news since the last video? No. There's a playlist. It's the only... So I changed how my YouTube channel looks after the publication of the documentary. So that, you know, it tells you about my other two channels. You know, the Passionate Gamer and then the Stream Archive. But then it's a playlist of all the Half-Life 3 videos that you need to watch to catch up with everything in order. How do we know? I can't sit here and explain all of that. There's like 10 videos. And then a 70-minute documentary. Just go watch the stuff. I make the stuff. It's free. It's free! How do we know it's another Half-Life game? It's not. It's a new IP. It's actually that fairy RPG that they were working on before Left 4 Dead. It's that. Thank you for the dono. Hitch, $4.99. Hey, Tyler, my nephew got into Skibbity Toilet, and now him and his friends are Half-Life and Doom heads. So it had a positive impact. Really? They're into Doom? Yeah. Yeah. It's the Guitar Hero thing. It's the Guitar Hero thing. I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I'm not going to try. 10 euros from you, though. I appreciate it. What if G-Man woke her up sometime between Half-Life Alyx and Half-Life 2 before Gordon got woken up and arrived at City 17? That's a possibility, but we would need to have that explained. Because, like, you know, you can have theories as much as you want, but as it currently stands in the explained canon, there is a plot hole. Period. All right? So we have to... That's what Half-Life 3 needs to answer. Kyle Pina... $4.99. What if Alex was in Gordon's body for all of Half-Life 1 and 2, and that's why he can't talk? Alex was just the G-Man in disguise. That's two different things. Can't be both. Two different things. What if Alex was the G-Man in disguise? That's a very interesting concept. Goes against all of Half-Life Alyx, though. Because... if the Alex was the G-Man in disguise, then why did the G-Man do the vault test in the first place? If it's just him. Second of all, what if Alex was in Gordon's body at all this time? Well, Gordon was in stasis during Half-Life Alyx. They're two different people. Also, Alex and Gordon, like, no. Kyle, no. Nintaku. $20. Thank you so much. In earlier interviews years ago, Valve seemed to indicate that they wanted Shell to somehow be introduced into a mainline Half-Life game. Do you think that's even on the agenda? Yeah. So this was the first question that we did in the stream, and I'm sure the VOD will be available so you can check it. But to summarize, yeah, I think they're gonna do it, and I think that they had it figured out. During the production of, like, episode 1. They knew what they were doing. And, you know, a developer did leak that assets exist and stuff. Like, yeah, I'll make sure the VOD is public so you can get the full answer to that question. But, yeah, I actually do think Chell might show up in Half-Life 3. Dead Tech Logic, $2. Did you pre-order Doom Dark Ages yet? Yep. And I'm going to be getting the game anyways. Like, they, you know... like, I'm going to get a review key. But, yeah, I already pre-ordered it. I got to support my boy. Tay Jelly Lord, $9.89. My theory is that the stuff with the Vault and Alex freeing the G-Man all happened in the original timeline, and present Alex wasn't taken by the G-Man until just after past Alex saved Eli. My theory is that the stuff with the Vault and Alex freeing the G-Man all happened in the original timeline, and present Alex wasn't taken by the G-Man until just... That would still be two Alexes. That would still be two Alexes. Not unless Alex is just placed back on Earth like nothing happened. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't... There'd be a lot of stuff Alex would have foreknowledge to that she doesn't have foreknowledge to in Half-Life 2 in the episodes. Especially related to the G-Man. Yeah, I don't think so. Zenium Resonator with the 10 euros. Oh, that's 10 pounds sterling. Half-Life 3. With the timey-wimey weirdness, you are British. Timey-wimey weirdness, what is it like? Death Stranding stuff where actions of different actual player Gordons from different playthroughs will directly affect your world? I don't think it'll be that far. I think it's just gonna be like maybe there's an infinite number of universes and the G-Man is observing the Gordons in all of them, but it doesn't really matter because they all end up the same. Except in the ones where he dies. Virtual Riot. Hey, Tyler, I'm a big fan. Been watching since day one. Have you really? Because day one was July 2011. Thank you for the $5. All right, now we've caught up with the super chats for now. Let's get to an email. All right. Hi, Tyler. Hope things are going well on your end. Couple of questions. Been working my way through... I saw another one. I'll answer it after the email. Been working my way through the featured mods of Doom and Doom 2. You've mentioned Eve Eternity on a past stream, which I've added to my backlog in the regular mod browser. Any other recommendations of Doom mods? Thatcher's Tech Base. Doom the way it did. The free Doom levels are very good. Oh. Anything that Doom Kid made. There's a guy called Doom Kid, and he makes vanilla compatible stuff. It's like Ronnie Rowdy or something like that. His shit is incredible. All right, shout out to Doom Kid. Look up anything that Doom Kid made and start with the newest stuff and go back. That shit's peak. Does that answer your question? But then the second question, I think you've mentioned you're a fan of dinosaur egg oatmeal. I am. I'm almost 30. For time travel show vibes, did you know Quaker also did a berry blue sea adventures flavor in the late 90s, early 2000s, where the eggs turns the oatmeal into a blue ocean where they dissolved. And there were sharks and scuba divers and stuff hiding in them instead of dinos. Google it. Huh. Man, you gotta love that blue food dye. That's fun. I don't remember that at all. I just remember dino eggs. Any ideas how we can get this on Quaker's radar to bring stuff back in 2025? Look, my job is to get the time travel show to be a bi-weekly thing. And, you know, you have to find time to do that. It's just, you know, when the show picks up more momentum, I'll be able to pressure things like that. All right. Oh, we got 4. We got 5. Jesus Christ. Okay. From Council, 55 try. What if the vault test G-Man did was a simulation? Russell coming into the universe, I don't know where it fits into that, in my opinion. I mean, like, I would accept that if Valve told me that was the reality of it. You know? Like, it was all just for Alex. I would hate that. I would hate that. The point of confusion, 499. Do you think that actually finishing Half-Life 3 will inspire Valve to move on to something new? Or do you think they'll start revisiting older franchises? Well, I think a good chunk of them will retire. And then I'll read the room, and then I'll be able to answer that question better. But I can tell you that Eric Wolpaw wants to do Portal 3 so fucking bad. So keep that in mind. White Man Alive, $10 Canadian. For those who don't know, G-Man exists at all times in all universes, like it's the same guy. Correct. And it's all at the same time. For the G-Man, there is no time between him picking up Gordon in Half-Life 1 and dropping him off in City 17. That is correct. But that doesn't matter because G-Man is not human. G-Man is a cosmic entity that is beyond human comprehension, so it doesn't matter because we are humans in the game experiencing time the way that humans experience time, except for points in time where the G-Man plucks you and does things to you. But even during those periods, whether that be stasis, whether that be time jumping, you're still experiencing time the way that a human would. You're just being played with by a cosmic entity of a higher power. All right, Hitch, my nephew, $4.99. Yeah, my nephew got into Dooms and other old school FPS and even Ultra Kill from his initial exposure from Skibbity. Okay, well then Skibbity was a good thing. And that's what I was arguing. That's awesome. Shoutouts to that dude's nephew, dude. Shoutouts to that dude's nephew. Hell yeah. Little Big JP with the $5. If you had to guess, when do you think we could see an announcement? If I had to guess. Summer announcement, winter release. And a side question, do you think we could ever see Decay on Steam? No. No. Moving on. We have the mod. All right, we're caught up. Now the next email. Dear Tyler McVicker, I've been a fan of yours, and I'm grateful for the work you put in. Hello? Why don't I hear the music? What the... It's so fucking annoying. Hello? Hello? Music's gone. Tyler's angry! Okay, if you've seen message I sent you to Twitter, there was a link towards an Arch Linux dev that the donation from Valve regarding support for different CPU architectures like ARM64 or RISC-64. Off topic, I'm very happy that it was revealed because people were calling me stupid for making this exact conclusion. And he explicitly tells that Valve is interested in ARM. They are. Also, the channel is Moore's Law is dead. I watched them. I was unaware they had a Valve situation, which specializes in PC hardware leaks. And he leaked and is very confident about AMD's Soundwave, which is an ARM-based APU, CPU plus RDNA GPU combined. And we cannot forget the recent donation, hiring contractors, to work on the FEX emulation project, which is a lightweight program that allows x86-64 software and ARM64 CPUs, including games, which is demonstrated by the YouTube channel of the project. So, after connecting the dots, my first question is, number one, do you think the Steam Deck 2 could have an AMD-manufactured ARM64-based APU, which would provide the necessary leap in performance per hour? Yes. Yes. In regards to my second question, we saw leaks about a Valve console in the past, but nothing new for a long time. Pierre-Luc Graffet stated at CES 2025 early this year that they were focusing on handhelds at the moment. Correct. So my second question is, what is happening with Project Fremont / the Steambox? I call it the Steam Vortex. Is it in hiatus, canceled, or being worked on? It's in between being worked on and hiatus. It is not the main focus. The Deckard is the main focus, and then the Deck 2, and then a console. I hope that you find these questions deserving of an answer, and I thank you in advance if you decide to answer them. I am. If you'd like some clarifications for answers to my question, I'd be happy to elaborate. You can reach me at my email address, which I'm sending them my message, or my Twitter account, or my Blue Sky account. Best regards, QUL. Which is better, subscribing to you on Patreon or Floatplane? Okay, subscribe to the Patreon if you want to support the videos that I make on YouTube. Very soon, the Floatplane will be converting to support the Time Travel Show. So if you want to support the Valve id Software, news, research, data mine, documentary history, human element of video game development stuff, Patreon. Really great questions. That was my favorite question I gotten so far today. Yeah, so in case you guys are unaware, and this will be a video, hopefully, Steam Deck, the Steam Deck and the Deckard are one and the same in terms of philosophy. It's a portable device. One that you hold. One is that you hold, that's the Steam Deck. One is that you wear, that's the Deckard. that is, you can play all of your Steam library, give or take, really high performance AAA games or some fringe cases on the device. Very simple. Just install them and they work out of the box. The Steam Deck is great for that. Only this one is a headset that you wear on your head. It is standalone. It is using an ARM-based CPU. ARM is not x86. The kind of CPU that you use in most of your consumer computers, like the computer that you're probably, if you were sitting at a desk at a computer, it's almost certainly running an x86 CPU. x86 architecture dates all the way back to the fucking late 70s. ARM architecture, I think, is almost just as old, but ARM is a smaller instruction set, meaning the CPU can technically do less baked-in things, but it's significantly better in terms of power draw. And for the longest time, it was seen as, that's what you would put into a cell phone so that the battery would run the battery wouldn't die in 10 minutes. But there have been a lot of movements to show that ARM is the future. Apple is the use case there with the M series of chips. Apple started developing their own processing chips in-house. They were using Intel for the longest time. And now they make the M1, the M2, the M3, the M4. Then there's M3 Pro and the M4 Pro. Those are all ARM-based. And I mean, they don't manufacture them in-house, obviously, but they develop them in-house. And now you have Intel and, everybody's jumping on the ARM bandwagon because when it comes to Moore's Law is dead. Traditional CPU architecture design is still growing, but at a much, much slower rate, right? Whereas, everybody was like, well, it'd be the gigahertz, keep going higher and higher. And it's I just got my first 5 gigahertz CPU because I built a new computer not too long ago because I wanted to buy. I wasn't planning on buying a new computer. I upgraded finally. You guys gave me $1,000 to upgrade. That's why I made the documentary. And I was like, God, I don't have the money to upgrade. I really can't afford to upgrade, but tariffs. And so if I don't buy the parts now, when am I going to buy the fucking parts? So I have a 9900 X3D AMD chip. I have 64 gigs of DDR5. I'm running an X870 motherboard, X870E motherboard, using the same graphics card, using the same storage. I'm using a 3080 Ti and 2 PCIe 4 Gen 4 M.2 NVMe SSDs. And the only things that I would like to upgrade, obviously I'd like a better graphics card eventually. But the 50 series looks like hell, and I don't have $8,000 to spend on a graphics card. I'd love the Doom the Dark Ages themed 5080 Bethesda, but, I'll stick with my 3080 Ti. It's working great. And then, of course, the PCIe Gen 5 M.2 SSD one day. I do want to upgrade that. But, I got sidetracked. But, yeah, x86 is not the future. It's just not. We're doing 3D chip designs. We're doing, these X3D, these really big, level 3 caches for gaming, and that is helping performance. But in terms of in 1997, 333 megahertz was insane, and then in 2000, 1 gigahertz was insane, and then in 2005, 2 gigahertz multi-core processors. Nowadays, the first computer I built had an AMD FX 8950. It was the first octo-core CPU, which wasn't true. And that went up to 3.5 gigahertz, maybe even 4 gigahertz. And that was 15 years ago. And now I have a 12-core CPU that goes up to 5.5 gigahertz. So, the speed at which things are increasing are not at all the same. Excuse me. So, with ARM, performance gains are much, much higher because the power draw is much, much lower. And if the power draw is much lower, then the heat output is much lower, which means everything is much more manageable and there's much more headroom for growth. So, if Valve wants to make handheld computers or a fucking computer you wear on your face, yeah, an ARM-based processor is what you're going to want to use, but a high-end ARM-based processor that isn't, manufactured by Apple doesn't really exist currently. So there's a lot of work being done on that. And then there's also the FEX emulation project, which is very similar to Proton, not in terms of mechanical, like how it works, but the end goal, very similar to Proton, whereas Proton is allowing games on Linux, games that don't natively run on Linux to run on Linux, right? It's a what is it called? A translation layer, right? Every draw call, every call that the game is making that it's trying to do on a Windows platform is being translated by a middleman, and then concurrent calls from that process is also being called. So it allows programs that don't natively run on Linux to run on Linux. It's based on what's called Wine, and Wine is incredibly old. FEX emulation is very different. It's still a translation/emulation layer in that, it's taking a program that's not designed to run on a platform and running it on that platform. But it's a much, much bigger ask. It's a much bigger deal because instead of it being two different operating systems that run on the same hardware, it's two entirely different, ways of thinking when it comes to hardware. And it works. It's working, and it's in development, and Valve is like, I want that. So yeah, the Steam Deck 2 is absolutely going to be running an ARM-based CPU, and there's so much evidence to show that the Deckard is an ARM-based device, and the Deckard runs Half-Life Alyx just on it. So there you go. If the thing is powerful enough to run Half-Life Alyx on its own, I would assume on lower graphics, but it's a standalone headset. All right, cool. All right, we got a few more of these. Zazel Eyes with the $20. Please take this for the new mic. I know your pain. Thank you. To follow up on the hardware questions, are they planning on launching any new software for the Deckard? Even something small like Desktop? Yes, a few of them. Well, a few of them are or were in development. I know of one by a third party. Yes. I mean, the entire... It's... Yeah. Yes. As far as the end user is concerned, it'll be just like using any other SteamVR headset. But SteamVR isn't running on a computer. It's running on the headset, right? I'm sure they'll update some stuff to better utilize in terms of, the user interface and all that. But, whereas the Aperture Desk Job was showcasing, the trackpads and, the motion and the back buttons and the touch screen and the double joysticks, it was designed to show what the deck could do. The Deckard, in terms of just use case, is not too dissimilar from any other VR headset, right? So, and then there's the big ass Duke controller thing that is effectively just a Steam Deck without the screen. That's for the Deckard, because if they want you to be able to play all of your Steam games on this thing, but on a big theater screen in virtual reality, you need a controller that's the Steam Deck, and that's what that's for. Still unconfirmed whether or not it's capable of producing 3D visuals, like NVIDIA 3D Vision type stuff, for 3D games. That would be the big selling point if they were able to pull that off. I don't have confirmation. There's some evidence to suggest that they are taking a 3D game and creating a stereoscopic image on a theater screen for you. So you could load up any game that is a 3D game, and it would give you some depth. And maybe they just take the depth buffer and they make two images for both eyes. I don't know. But imagine okay, I want to play Portal 2 on my Deckard, my headset. It's not going to place me in the game. It's not going to make a full VR port, but I'm going to be sitting in a theater chair or whatever you want. I'm sure you can change the environment with your controller, and it's like you're wearing 3D glasses in a movie theater, but you're not. It's just generating a 3D image on this virtual theater screen. That's a rumor. White Man Alive, $5 Canadian. Hey, Tyler, been a fan since 2013. God. We're old, aren't we? Any news on SteamOS release? No, I'm sorry. Will Deadlock drop before HLX? No. Is Gordon's OG voice actor back for Half-Life HLX? Yes, he is. Kyle Pina with the $4.99. I still think HLX will definitely be a roguelike. Makes too much sense with branching path time stuff. Well, I think you're wrong. But I mean, you're allowed to live in your reality and I'm allowed to live in mine. Why the fuck was this my YouTube summary? So apparently my YouTube auto-generated chat summary, which I don't like that feature. Did you know YouTube is doing generative AI music for creators? I was added into that program. Not going to be using it. So that you can have any kind of music without the copyright strikes. Yeah, shit like that shouldn't be monetized until there's any kind of... I like playing around with AI music because I think it's funny to make Johnny Cash sing about fucking a truck, right? I'm not trying to make money off of that because I don't own it. Any generated AI song that comes out of the program that I'm fucking around with, I don't own that. That exists because a program listens to every song ever recorded and found patterns. I don't own that. But if YouTube's doing the same shit, that means that any piece of content that I make that has that generated music in it, I'm making money on. But the training data isn't. Fuck that. YouTube's also, like, has this weird new platform where they're like, here are video ideas that we think your audience will like based on comments and stuff. And that's really cool that it does that. And some of the ideas aren't bad. But then it generates thumbnails for you. And they're all terrible. The chat summary. Viewers are saying that Tyler 1's microphone... I'm not Tyler 1. I'm Tyler McVicker, the Passionate Gamer. Viewers are saying that Tyler 1's microphone is cutting out and making it difficult to listen to the stream. There are also questions about the size of the Doomslayer, the upcoming Oblivion remaster, and whether Half-Life 3 will feature the 1997 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution Rally Art. Spot on, bud. Spot on. Do you think the Deck 2 is far away and need a handheld? Buy a Deck. Buy a Deck OLED. I think the Deckard is soon. I don't think the Deck 2 is soon. I think the Deckard is going to be an excellent training ground for what will be possible with the ARM-based CPU in SteamOS and that kind of thing. From Yuri MG26, 10R10, 10R dollars, 10 all R dollars, 10R dollars, 10RR dollars, 10R dollars. 10R dollars. Tyler, do you think Half-Life 3 will be on par with recent games in a matter of graphics? Unknown. Knowing Valve, they'd want to push the envelope. So, unknown. Thank you for the $10R dollars, though. I'll use them to buy, R. Like, movies rated R. I'm just kidding. I pirate everything. R! Hi, Tyler. Do you think that Valve... Oh, this is €6 from somebody named Izzy, I think. No, it's got a slash through the eye. I don't know what that means. Hi, Tyler. Do you think that Valve will try to implement exclusives on the new hardware? No, they won't. Anything that they release on the Deck or the Steam Deck will be playable on any computer. Period. All right, we're caught up. Next email. Valve once said they would never announce that TF2 is done and that they'd let fans endlessly wait for the next update. But isn't the release of the source code in Comic 7 basically that? Yes. With this plus the 20th anniversary updates for the Half-Life series, do you think something internally has changed at Valve regarding their legacy titles? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, they said in 2017 that they don't like to look back, right? And then in 2023, they did a 20th anniversary Half-Life 1, and then in 2024, 25th anniversary Half-Life 1, and then in 2024, they did 20th anniversary Half-Life 2. Yeah, obviously something changed. And the source code release alongside comic number 7 is Valve absolutely saying, bye! Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I gotta go. Bye. Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. Bye. Right? And there will be a video going over, like, all of just the mass of TF2 mods that have been added to Steam now. That'll be a good video. All right, Kyle Pina, will we see dog augmented into some kind of hyper dog with hyper weapons? Yeah, you got me, man. That's the one story beat I knew, man. Hyper dog. You even know the name. Hyper dog with hyper weapons. You got it, man. Thanks for the $5. I'm gonna buy a chalupa. Oh, it's not even enough for a chalupa. Thanks, Biden or Trump or Obama or my dad. Fuck. Next email. Putting aside all currently gathered information, what are your story expectations? Love your content. Best regards, Bloody Cop. Thank you, Bloody Cop. What a name. What are my expectations for the story? It's going to wrap up a whole bunch of things and leave open a few new questions to allow for the next generation to make a Half-Life 4 if they so choose. But for the time being, there are open questions. There are strings that they have been meaning to tie up for the last 20 years. And since this is absolutely the retirement project for quite a few people, yeah. My expectations are we're going to know about Borealis will be solved. We'll learn more about the G-Man. We'll know more about Chell. We'll know more about It did it again. God fucking. Hello? Piss and Shit Hotline. This is Dave. Fuck. So fucking annoying. It explains Long Dog. His length was extended. Kyle Pina with the $1.99. $1.99. It explains Long Dog. His length was extended. So you think in order to take Dog, an already massive robot, and make him touch the wire. It's gonna sound a bit echoey. The mic is over there. Fuck this. I had a joke. I was setting up a joke. The joke is gone. The joke is over. I can't do the joke anymore. Ass. All right. Do you know anything gameplay-wise outside of the leaks, insider info? I mean, kinda. I wouldn't answer that question on letting off steam. I'm sorry. Do you have any insider info about the state of the game? Yeah. Do you think enemies like advisors and hunters will return? Yes. Do you currently think they'll name it Half-Life 3? Yes. Did your sources confirm that it was flat screen? No. Next question. Do you think it's possible for Valve to reveal the game and release it on the same day? I do. I don't think it's likely. It is absolutely a possibility. Yes. Absolutely Valve could shadow drop Half-Life 3. Yes. Do I think they're going to? No. But, you know, never say never, as the great Lord Justin Bieber once said. Chicken jockey! All right. Buy a new mic, my guy. I love the content. Thank you, George, for the $20. Appreciate it. By the way, the money that you're giving me, I don't get until the 21st of next month. So just keep that in mind. Do you think it's possible for Valve to reveal the game and release? Oh. Hi there, Tyler. I know it's only speculation, but if you had to guess, when do you think Half-Life 3 will be announced? I've already answered that. Summer. Is Summer Games Fest or Gamescom possible? Yes, but not likely. Should we wait for the Game Awards? I don't think so. Also, do you think the 197 stuff is bullshit? Yes. But why do you think Valve used his album cover for the New Year tweet? Because it was the image he had. Because he just was like, this image is available. Plonk. Hi, Tyler. Appreciate all the work you do for us Half-Life fans. I've been a follower of your channel since like 10 years ago. Dope ass. My question is, do you think Valve took notes on Todd's movement of shadow dropping Elder Scrolls 4 Remastered? Yes. Does this increase the chance of them shadow dropping Half-Life 3? Yes. Love from Argentina. Thank you. What am I looking at here? Wow! Spliced bread. Been watching you since high school in 2014. Gone through college and have had 2 career jobs. For the love of God, get a new mic with a boom arm. I've been trying to listen while on my break walk. $100. Holy shit, dude. So I graduated high school in 2014, right? And after I graduated high school, I decided that I was going to take this seriously, the YouTube thing. Because before that, I was uploading like maybe once every other month, maybe once a month, and then there'd be pockets of time every day for like 2 weeks. But then in May of 2014, right after I graduated, the bread update stuff started happening for Team Fortress 2. So this was like, this was 11 years ago now, but there's, they updated TF2 to the point where if you went through a teleporter, there was a chance that a piece of bread would fall out. And there were 9 different types of bread that would come out, each of them themed around one of the classes. So I did my first data mine, and it was terrible. It was mostly just looking at what Testing Law found on FacePunch, and made a video. That video got 10,000 views. That video was the best video fastest performing video I had ever done. Give or take one or 2 others. My girlfriend, Electra, my wife now, we're still together, never broke up, was like, you got to do that. That's what you got to do. This could be your job. This could be you could achieve your dream. Just make more of these. Because I was experimenting in different kinds of content and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So I started making that content nonstop. And I have never stopped making that content. So the fact that you started watching in 2014, that was the same time I started taking it seriously as a job. And I made the video that blew up, the video that gave me the ability to turn this into a career, was everything you need to know, or like all you need to know about Source 2. It was in August of 2014. Went to bed. I used to do this thing where I would just grind. At night, I would come home from something, and it'd be like 8 p.m., start on a video, and I wouldn't be done until like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I would just upload it, right? And then I'd go to bed. And then I would look forward to waking up and seeing the view count. And normally it would be like, 1,000 to 5,000 views, maybe like 10 new subscribers, and I'd read all the comments, I'd respond to all the comments because it was very manageable at that point. I go to bed, and I wake up, and the video is at like 35,000 views, which is the fastest anything has ever happened. And I got like 2,000 new subscribers overnight. You see, at that point, I had just hit 2,000 subscribers, and I had been doing that channel for like 3.5 years at that point. So it took me 3.5 years to get to 2,000. I make this video and I double my subscriber count overnight. And I just never stopped. I've never looked back. I never stopped. So I appreciate that, man. Like, you know, I have gone through a hell of a lot of life. A lot of different things have happened to me since I started taking this seriously, since I started doing this channel. The only constant through all of it is my wife and this YouTube channel and my love of Coldplay. So, you know. Fast and Curious, £5. Just to be clear, you meant Valve saying bye to TF2 in the sense of pre-2018, correct? We will always be able to play the game and get workshop content, correct? Yeah, you're never going to get another Jungle Inferno. You know, I get death threats because of that, because I say shit like that, but, you know, they're not... Who the fuck is going to work on that? You know what I mean? You'll get fired if you try and do that. You won't get fired directly, but next time employee evaluations come around, they're going to be like, hey, what kind of value did you generate for the company? And you'll be like, I made Icy Inferno. And they'll be like, oh, okay, get out. So, yeah, you'll still get your tri-yearly content drops. Sure, absolutely. What are the chances, $5 Canadian from White Man Alive, what are the chances we see Half-Life 3 launch along Steam OS, kind of like how Half-Life 2 launched with Steam? Also, OG McVicker head sound off. Yo, what up? I'm the skedaddler. That's me. The chances of it launching with Steam OS are only possible if it also launches with the Deckard. Both projects are coinciding at around the same time, so a simul launch is possible, if unlikely, because Half-Life 3 is not showing off the features of the Deckard in the ways that would really, you know what I mean? Maybe it could, but it's not. I'm not going to sit here and tell you like, well, they're planning on doing both at the same time, because when the Deckard comes out, I think SteamOS is soon to follow. Lint146 with the $2. Icy Inferno confirmed. No, it's not. Don't you dare post that anywhere, because it's not. Good day, Tyler. I'm Can, she, her. What up, Can, she, her. I'd like to ask if you have any ideas when Deadlock is going to release as a feature-complete product. They don't even know. The current invite-only playtest with tons of placeholder. Correct. We'd love to see devs on the forum. We see a lot of devs on the forum and new ones joining the team. If that's too much of a broad question, can you talk about what you've heard about Deadlock from inside the office since Gabe followers stopped talking about the game in your Discord or somewhere else after he got quoted on Reddit? Yeah, so the Barista Gamer, I've been a fan since your third trimester, and I'm personally responsible for poisoning the water hole. Opinions on the new community mod for TF2. There's a bunch of new community mods for TF2, and I'm going to be making a video about my favorites. I'm very excited that they're on Steam. I'm very excited for them to launch, and I'm very excited to see what kind of player numbers they get. To Can's question. I don't even think the Deadlock team knows when it'll be done, because Deadlock is a very experimental kind of game. Like, they're throwing a lot of ideas out and changing things up that are very core to the mechanics of the game. Like, changing from 4 lanes to 3 lanes on the game map is a massive change, right? And it's not the kind of change that you see when you're in beta. Do you know what I mean? You're not content locked. You're not mechanic locked or anything. You're still, this is still like pre-alpha shit if you're changing the core mechanics of your game, right? So Deadlock and how the community is communicated to, and how community figureheads communicate, has changed, and that's because there's a private playtest. There is the public playtest that everybody knows about, and it's invite only, right? Then there's a private one, right? And it's like, multiple people were feeding me bullshit. Like, there isn't. Where did you hear that? No, there's not. And it's like, okay, maybe there's not. And then people started leaking shit from it, and it's like, oh, okay. Thanks for lying to me. Appreciate that. So, like, Why is Game Follower not talking about stuff? Why are different people not talking about Deadlock as much as they used to? Because they don't want to get kicked out of the fucking private test. I'm not in the private test. I wouldn't want to be in the private test. So, because if I'm in the private test, then I can't talk about it. But yeah, like, Deadlock updates are becoming fewer and fewer, but they're becoming larger when they happen. Like the last one in what, late February with the 3 lanes. So, you know, is Deadlock even good though? Oh, it's fucking fantastic. I just don't have time to really dedicate to it. It's like if you take like the vibes of Team Fortress 2 and the strategy of CS:GO and the basic gameplay format of Dota 2 and mix it all into one game. It's very good. I fucking love the character designs of Deadlock. Fucking love the character designs of Deadlock. Yeah. Do I think it'll be a 2-week wonder? Depends. If it's PC only, probably. If they put Deadlock on console and mobile, which they can, absolutely within their power, it'll do well. It'll do very, very well. So to the Barista Gamer's question about, like, what do I think of some of the other, some of the TF2 mods? Quite a few of them are on Steam already. There's this pastime-focused one that looks really cool. I'm going to give it a couple more months, and then I'm going to make a video talking about all of them. But not a single one is out, right? Because in order to properly port to the source code instead of using TF-base is actually a larger undertaking than it appears on the paper. So, Diamond Dylan, we got Diamond Dylan on the track. When Nintendo diving in full force at $70 to $80 games, do you think Valve will end up pricing HLX something like that? I don't know. How do you think Rockstar will respond in several years of rumors of the game being $100 for standard digital versions? Again, I don't know. If any game were to cost and justify the cost of $100, it would be the big flagship Rockstar game. But the problem is that's a dangerous precedent to set. If Rockstar releases GTA 6 at $100, and GTA 6 is bigger than Red Dead Redemption 2, and is as good, if not better, in terms of the story of Red Dead Redemption 2, which it might not be. Red Dead 2 is a very high bar. Then I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but that one thing, it would be worth $100. I would pay $100 for that. I would. It's been in development for yeah. If any game were to cost $100, GTA 6 or Red Dead 3 or anything like that would be $100. I would pay $100. Like, knowing what I know now about my emotional response and connection with Red Dead 2, I would pay $100 for Red Dead 2. I would absolutely pay $100 for Red Dead 2. But the problem is the precedent that sets, right? Because not everybody is Rockstar. Not everybody is pumping, is making like one game every 6 to 8 years, and that game is fucking insane. And it's like, how the hell did human beings make this kind of levels of games? Because then you'll have Ubisoft and EA and Nintendo and all that shit, you know, publishing everything like it's that. And it's not. See, the thing about Nintendo going $70 to $80, which I don't support, you know, I didn't even attempt to pre-order the Switch 2. I will not be buying a Switch 2. I won't be participating with the Switch 2 until some shit changes. Right? But Nintendo does make quality software. They just do, right? Like, not everything that they put their name on is good. A lot of the stuff they put their name on is shit. The Pokemon developers just need to be fired. They need to give Pokemon to a different development studio. But that doesn't change the fact that Super Mario Odyssey made me cry because it made me feel more like a kid in a good way than any other game had up until that point. That doesn't change the fact that Super Mario Galaxy is one of the tightest designed video games ever made. That doesn't change the fact that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, with all of its flaws, are some of the most inventive, experimental, open world game design things I have ever seen. And their hardware sucks ass, which is the problem, right? Like, that is the real draw of emulation, because you have these masterpieces of video game design running on a tablet that was out of date 8 years ago, right? But then you see a YouTube video of somebody playing Tears of the Kingdom in 4K 60 frames a second, and it's like, whoa! Right? So it's like, okay, do I think Mario Kart World is worth $80? No. No, I don't. Do I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is worth $70? Yeah, I do. I do. And it's a shame I'm not going to be able to play those games, because I'm sure they're fucking masterpieces. But Nintendo, the business side, Nintendo, the executives, the people at the Japan offices, the Japan headquarters, making these business decisions, making these decisions like suing emulation and killing preservation and killing fan games and treating their audience like they just treating like they don't need their audience's fandom, acting like the idea of people loving something that you've made so much that they want to make derivative work based off of it is like evil to you, and like super like you view that as a disrespectful thing and you need to kill it because it's damaging to your brand and your platform, is so backwards and so ancient in terms of thinking, you know. But then, devil's advocate, Tears of the Kingdom leaking 2 weeks before the game came out, that's a problem. And the fact people can just easily play it because of that leak, that is a problem. But that's Nintendo's problem. That's not the user's problem. And I understand that the bullshit they pull when it comes to copyright and all that nonsense has something to do with how the Japanese law is seen and written. That doesn't change the fact that Nintendo is an international company, right? And is trying to bring together audiences from everywhere. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I just, like, look, $450 is too much for the Switch 2, period. Like, well, actually, no, it's not. $450 seems fair-ish. It's on the high side of fair, but it's fair-ish. They are not selling it at a loss. They are not selling it at cost. They are making a small profit on that. Or they were, maybe not anymore, at least in the United States. $80 for Mario Kart World is fucking stupid. $70 for Tears of the Kingdom, also kind of fucking stupid because it was reusing so much of Breath of the Wild. It's like the way that they answered the question of like, why are you having these dynamic prices? And they're saying it's like, because like $60 has been the standard for so long, and because of inflation, we're making less on this software that takes more money to make. And it's like, okay, maybe, but like, that doesn't mean, like, if you're really going to do the dynamic pricing thing, do it properly and be like, okay, the new big ass flagship Mario 3D Mario game with, like, you know, directed by Koizumi, and you have all of these new inventive ideas, and it's better than Odyssey, and you sell that for $80? Okay. New open world Zelda, brand new map. We remade everything from scratch. It's completely changed a lot of mechanics. There's dungeons everywhere. $80. Okay. But then don't re-release Wii games and 3DS games and sell those for $50 to $60. If you're going to go off of this dynamic pricing model, then those old console remake games need to be $20. If you want to argue inflation, 30. But, like, okay, Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii was $20 until the remake came out, and now it's $50 to $60 based on retailer. Bullshit. That should be $20 to $30. If you're gonna do the dynamic pricing thing and demand more money because of the quality and development costs, fine, but that goes both ways. That goes both fucking ways. And the age of the game should have something to do with the pricing model. I'm so sick of the fact that Nintendo games never drop in price. Ever. And I get why they do that, because they fucking can. But at the same time, you will eventually release like a classics model. Or actually, no, they won't. They never did that for Switch. I'm now realizing they never did a Nintendo Selects thing for Switch. Ooh. So, Nintendo Selects is like Player's Choice or Greatest Hits. At the end of a console's lifespan, they will re-release a bunch of the most popular games at a discount. Happened with the Wii U, happened with the Wii, happened with the GameCube, happened with the N64. Happened with the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation... Did they do it with PlayStation 4? Everybody does this. At least they did. And the re-release version of the game would be much cheaper, like $20, right? Catch up on the games you missed. And so you'd sell it at a smaller price, but at much wider volume. They didn't do that for the Switch. They're doing Switch 2 editions, yeah. That's bullshit. I hate that. Because I'm now realizing Mario Odyssey is still $60. Breath of the Wild still $60. Those came out in 2017. Ha! That's okay. Yeah, bullshit. Yeah, but the problem is, right? Like, even if Nintendo were to justify it by re-releasing older games, you know, like actually doing the dynamic model where it's like, yes, this deserves $70 to $80, and if the quality is there, if the quantity and quality is there, personally I'd be like, okay, all right. But then they would have to go the opposite way and not have a minimum where it's like, yes, okay, we're going to do dynamic pricing, but the lowest we'll release a game is 60. Bullshit. You're fucking bullshitting us then. Because we all know that they're going to be like, oh, it's a re-release of fucking Codename Steam. You remember the classic Codename Steam? $60. You know what I mean? Codename Steam slapped, by the way. If anybody didn't, go play Codename Steam. Love that game. That game was like $30, by the way, when it first came out. And obviously they're not remaking fucking Codename Steam. But like, yeah. I think we got some, yeah. We got some super chats. Are the this is Hitch for $2. Are the Combine coming back in 3? Yes. Kyle Pina, $5. Do headcrabs and antlions ever collide underground? Antlions and headcrabs do not collide underground. Antlions hunt headcrabs. If you put an antlion and a headcrab in a just a blank map and let the AI sort it out, they will fight each other, and antlions always win. Yeah, I don't think they can mate, if that's what you're asking. What would that look like? A head crabian? An ant crab? Ant crab, that's what it would be called. Gaul, 2 pounds. Is Zen returning? Almost certainly, and that's based off of mechanical design stuff, yeah. What do you think of the new Marathon game? That's from Big Master 225 for $2. I know that Dylan is huge into it. Not a fan, Not really into it. I like the design. I like the Mirror's Edge inspired like solid color type thing. I like that. I'm not a big multiplayer gamer. Just not. If I had the choice between multiplayer, single player, it's a single player every single time. But I mean, it looks cool. You know, power to Bungie. I hope it works out. You've implied... Oh, okay. I know you've expressed interest in your Discord about data mining Oblivion remasters for hints or a possible Fallout 3 remaster. Did you find anything in the data mine? Didn't even start. The tools for that aren't really there yet. I mean, they kind of are. You can use Unreal Engine stuff. I don't have time. So it's not hinting towards a possible Fallout 3 remaster. The Fallout 3 remaster is happening. So the fact the Oblivion remaster is now out, the fact that Doom the Dark Ages was originally called Doom Year Zero in production, confirms the leaked timeline. And Fallout 3 Remastered was also on the timeline, set to release 1 year after the Oblivion remaster. And Virtuos is the type of developer to take on a whole bunch of projects at once. Virtuos is working with CD Projekt Red, Virtuos is working with Bethesda, Virtuos works with a bunch of studios. Do I think that there's going to be some hints or teases or strings or maybe a few assets related to Fallout 3 Remaster in the Oblivion Remaster? Probably, yeah. Most likely in the code, though. And that would be in the code of the Unreal Engine 5 side. $2 Canadian, I think. 1,000 head crabs versus 1 antlion guard. The head crabs, I think. Does Gary's mod support 1,000 head crabs at once? We could test it. You've implied that Half-Life HLX is all hands on deck phase of development as things are seemingly wrapping up. Yep. What the hell is up with CS2? It seems to have been thrown out the door long before it was really ready. Correct. Yeah, what the hell is happening with it? There are too many other projects taking up developers' time. They shipped CS2. Why did they ship CS2? I don't know. They shipped it way too fucking early. You've acknowledged it in Discord, but several of Hopo Games' Risk of Rain 2 developers joined Valve following Gearbox's acquisition of the Risk of Rain IP from Hopo Games. Any idea what those devs are doing? Yeah, they're working on Deadlock. Magician, for example, is one of the things that those developers directly did. And I think maybe also Slork. ZM, are you here? You know more about this than I. But I know Magician was the Hopo Games developers doing. Was Valve gearing up for an announcement of Neon Prime prior to playtests, but ultimately forced a drastic art style change? Yes. Yep. Do you think Raising the Bar reprint will go on sale alongside the HLX announcement? I think that's possible. I think it depends. If the book itself will have future Half-Life content in it, yes. Do you think there will be more Half-Life merch similar to Alex when it's announced, pins and stuff? Yes, I do. New York Times telling me about Wordle. Okay. I'm getting these fucking... I'm not clicking on your link. There are these... Okay, so... Here's I'm going to pull back the curtain. We're going to have a little bit of inside baseball here. A bunch of sponsors pulled out for a bunch of YouTubers. It's kind of hell right now. And that has everything to do with Trump and the tariffs. So a lot of the companies that sponsor YouTubers have Chinese manufacturing within the pipeline somewhere. So for example, FlexiSpot here manufactures in China. And some of the games companies that work with people like Raid Shadow Legends come from China in some way. And so, yeah, sponsors are pulling out in droves. I lost more money in the last month because of it than I've ever lost on a sponsor before, because 3 different sponsors pulled out. And so, because this is becoming such a problem, scammers are jumping on to offer sponsors. And it's the same form letter from different companies, but it's the exact same thing with a link. And it's just to steal your YouTube channel to sell crypto. People are identifying that there is a pain point in small creators, and they immediately jump on it to steal your channel. So if you're a creator out there, if you're a creator that's just starting out, or you're a creator that's been doing this for years, advice: never, ever, ever, ever click on a link in an email from somebody whom you don't trust. I recommend don't click on any link in an email. You can click on a link in a VM, a sandboxed VM, which is what I do, but never, ever, ever click on a link in an email from a sponsor offering you something. If the sponsor demands that you install a piece of software, it's bullshit. It is not real. If it's a video game that's sponsoring you, download it through Steam or through the launcher on an official website. Do some research on Reddit even. It's almost always bullshit, okay? I have gotten like 15 different emails that all look identical, but they're being sent from different companies, and they all have a link. And they even say, don't send this link to anybody. This link is just for you. Bullshit. Don't fall for it. Okay? That's my warning to you guys. Just, PSA. If you're a creator and it seems like you're getting a really cool sponsor, but you need to download something through a link, they're scamming you. Am I reading emails? I am reading emails right now, yeah. VTV, £2. What is CDPR doing in 2025, 2026? Well, 2026 probably Witcher. Well, no. 2027 is Witcher. They confirmed Witcher 4 is in 2026. So, nothing. They're heads down development right now. We might get a few little Cyberpunk updates, but that's pretty much it. Reveal your search history. It's pretty much just going to be Coldplay, Sabrina Carpenter stuff for Elektra, MILFs. It's going to be a lot of MILF-related content. Valve and Bethesda and id Software stuff, and a lot of MILFs. Is the hyperdog thing from earlier a joke? Yes. You look dead tired. I actually feel fine right now. You didn't have to wrap in the MILFs. Yeah, I don't know. I like MILFs. What's the problem with that? Do you think Valve... Do you really think that the development is near completion for HLX? And do you have any info about it other than the speculations from remaining code strings? No new info, because there is no new code, because there hasn't been a data mined update since. We're getting close to a deadlock one, apparently. But HLX is nearing completion? Yeah. I really do think that. Which will come sooner, Deckard or HLX? Probably Deckard. Do you think Valve will need to make Source 3? No, it's Source 2. I really want to join your Discord server. Please update your link in bio. I thought I did update it. I'll update it in a bit. Yeah, okay. Not reading that one because that's a spoiler. Thank you, though. I don't know what that question means. Do you think HLX is going to be as revolutionary as Half-Life 2, or if Valve itself believes so? Oh, also nuns. There'll be some nuns stuff in my search history. And if it's a MILF nun, that's the, you know. I think Valve, yeah, obviously the goal for Half-Life 3 is to push the medium of first-person shooters forward as far as you can push it. Make it better. Obviously, they'd like to make it revolutionary in certain ways. So, I mean, like, you know, like, I think, yeah, they want to do that, but will it be as revolutionary as Half-Life 2? I don't think that's possible. I genuinely don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible. Genuinely. I don't. I think they're going to try. What are your thoughts on Valve's releases post HLX? Do you believe it'll be another 5-year wait? I mean, yeah, games take about that long to make nowadays. So yeah. But I think the next thing will be Portal 3. You already answered my question from my email. I'll just say I've been playing TF2 for the first time ever on Steam Deck, and I love it. That's pretty sick. Thank you for the $5, sir. Yeah, I mean, like, they're already in a kickstarted mood. They like making games. That team likes making games. Obviously, people on that team are going to retire. Some of them. And, oh, you want to see my feet? I don't, like, the thing that like, we have to be not concerned about, but, like, the factor that could change things is whom is going to retire and how does the retirements change the team, and does that team still stick together, still have that kind of vibe going, and if so, probably Portal 3. Worst name with the $10. I remember rumors going around of a new mainline Quake game featuring Crash from Quake 3 as the main character. Was this unsubstantiated, or was it a project that got canned? As far as I know, that's unsubstantiated. Hugo has stated that he wanted to bring Crash back as a character. That's not what Dark Ages is. Hugo's gone on record and said that all, like, the cosmic horror, you know, the cosmic realm, which is all very Cthulhu, monster, Lovecraftian stuff, isn't Quake. But it's like, Hugo, I love you, but looks like Quake. But who knows? So, I mean, like, I don't know. They could give another developer the opportunity to work on a Quake game, but I think they think because Quake Champions was a failure that a mainline Quake game wouldn't work, which is dumb, but I don't know. It's just like Doom the Dark Ages itself isn't directly referencing anything, but it sure as hell has a lot of, like, Quake references, and also, like, Heretic and Hexen looking references. Like that fucking crossbow. You know what I mean? Judy Nader, $2. RTX Mega Ultra Ray Tracing in HLX. Well, there is ray tracing in HLX. We know that. So. Hi, Tyler. My question is simple. Will you apologize to VCC for your mass bannings of people doing the Gas Mask Citizen 2000 shaker? Thank you, Marie. Is there any... Here's my... Hi, Tyler. Hi, chat. This is E-Train. What's up, man? Is there anything you've most looked forward to in Valve in terms of innovating on their tech for HLX? Yeah, just gameplay. All games look pretty now. That's not what you can do. Gameplay. Make cool new gameplay. I'm trying to answer every email, but they just keep coming in, and obviously those will also take up time. Tyler, when is it coming? Will it be open world or more linear? When is it coming? Probably this year, or at least it'll be announced this year. Will it be open world? No. Hi Tyler, I've been subscribed for a while now and love the content. Given the current state of development, how confident are you, compared to prior Valve projects, that HLX/Half-Life 3 will actually come to fruition? Given the many times previously in which Half-Life 3 has been developed to some extent whilst never being released. Right. This is the furthest it's ever been. Period. The game is playable end-to-end. Period. Never been that far. And they're optimizing. They're polishing. They're probably content locked. Or if they're not, they're mechanic locked. It's, you know... I'm curious of the delay. Oh my god, a second and a half? Jesus Christ, there's no delay at all. Stop shaking. Earthquake. Been subscribed for a while now. Oh, I answered that already. Hi Tyler, been a huge fan of Half-Life since 2004. Wanted to ask, what do you think about the Resonance Cascade itself? How much do you think a thing like that could be realistic in our world? I mean, if we compare it to COVID. The Resonance Cascade. A Resonance Cascade scenario. COVID-19. A fucking scientific catastrophe involving lasers, crystals, and opening a portal to another dimension that leads to the death of 2/3 of humanity and the complete takeover of Earth in 7 hours. COVID. I don't think it's very possible, because it would involve intelligent life from other planets and other universes interacting directly with us. Mabek with the €2. What mechanics would HLX push forward? Procedural generation. Oh, AI. Yeah, NPC AI. Realistic behavior within NPCs. Will we ever see a new Quake? Just began playing TF2 for the first time on the Steam Deck and loving it. Great to hear. Any updates on Deadlock that have been lost in the weeds and the HLX train in full steam? Yeah, I already mentioned this, but some leaks from the private testing server on the Reddit. Any guesses on what's going to happen after HLX ships Portal 3? Prove to me that HLX is a Half-Life game. No. How are you actually data mining Source 2 games to find references to HLX within the code? Okay, so Source 2 and Source Engine are very understood game engines. And the way that they work are pretty standard. The way that we data mine for code involves taking system-level files. On Windows, they're called DLLs. But in this case, we're taking the Linux builds of these things, if available, because those are more plain text. What you're doing is you have a game, a build of a game, and then you have the build of the game after an update is patched, an update is pushed. You take the files from before the update and the files from after the update and compare them. The way you go about doing that for system files is you do a thing called string64. You plain text those files. What it's doing is it's effectively opening a system file and it's looking at the raw text. Like if you were to take a system file and just open it in a notepad editor. Every once in a while when you do that, amongst the junk will be like plain English things. What these programs do is they look for those and then they put them, everything that it finds, in a list. And that list is chronological, meaning the order in which they are found in the file, from the start of the file to the end of the file. So you have a text file that represents all of the strings in a system file pre-update. And then you have a text file with all of the strings found in a system file post-update. Then what you do is called a diff check. You open both of those text files in a program at the same time. In my case, the program that you use is called I don't remember. And it automatically looks at the differences between those two files. This is here, but not here. This is here, but not here. These are kind of the same, but these letters changed. WinMerge, thank you. And so you just look at all the differences. And the differences show you a lot. What was removed? Why was it removed? What is the context of the thing that was removed? What was added? Why was it added? What is the context of the thing that was added? Do we have information from previous updates that show more that give you more information about these specific strings that were found? And then, of course, in a more simple form, you also check the assets. You know, you just plain text a list of all the assets and compare them. These assets are new. These assets were removed, and you just look at the assets. But usually, it's code, right? And so you could do that by hand. It takes ages. Thankfully, XPaw, co-founder and the guy who runs SteamDB, does this automatically for you. There's a GitHub page hosted by SteamDB that is an active diff checker of every piece of Valve software, right? So every time a Dota 2 update or a Deadlock update comes out, it's automatically diff checked like within 5 minutes of the update being pushed and published as a GitHub code change. And the way that GitHub code changes are displayed is through a diff check. Red lines are removed, green lines are changed. And it just shows you what's new. So you just scroll through it. This line's new, this line's new, this line's new, this line's new. In each of the files that changed within that build. And you just do that for every single update. And eventually, after doing this enough, you notice some patterns in what's being developed. You notice code names. You notice features. You notice things that are very obviously being worked on because they're repeated hundreds of times, but they're not in the game and they're not related to the game that they're found in. And the reason that happens, the reason why you can find Deadlock information in a Dota 2 update and vice versa, or you can find HLX information in either of those, is because they all run on source 2 and they're all using the same code base. When something is updated, when somebody updates source 2, when somebody adds a feature to source 2 for one of these games, all of these games now have access to that feature, right? If the devs wanted to, they could clean those out before pushing the build to the public. They never have, and they probably never will. They've been data mining. People have been data mining these well before I was, right? They were doing this in like 2006. There's forum posts of people data mining the beta of Team Fortress 2 when it was the beta launch in like August of 2007. People have always done this. So it's whatever. That's how you do it. What makes you think... Oh, loving the stream. It's £5 from... I'm going to call you Chiz. Weird question, but was there any point in your career making these videos that you had lost all hope for Half-Life 3 ever coming out? Yeah. Yeah, a couple years ago. About 2022, I made a video. This is why I'm called the Passionate Gamer, by the way. In 2022... November, I made a video about like what is even the future of Gordon Freeman and the Half-Life franchise. Talked about what became Deadlock, because at that point it was Neon Prime, and I was under the impression it was a Half-Life thing because it was when it was called Citadel. Wasn't when it was called Neon Prime. Talked about, you know, some community stuff, and then at the end of the video I was like, are they ever going to make Half-Life? Are they going to make like the big Half-Life 3? No. No. I don't think they're ever going to make Half-Life 3. Genuinely, I think they are. I'd never think they're going to make Half-Life 3. In hindsight, and the funny thing is, Half-Life 3 was in development for like a year and a half at this point. So I published this video where I say, I really don't think there's going to be a Half-Life 3. And fucking PC Gamer and IGN publish articles about that. And they reach out for Valve to comment. And Valve responds saying, what's the quote? I'll just pull up the quote. I said in the video, is it true a follow-up to Half-Life 2 Episode 2 in development in any capacity at Valve Software? Half-Life 3, Half-Life 2 Episode 3, and any kind of traditional mouse and keyboard first-person shooter at Valve is not taking place. If it is an incredibly small group of people. IGN writes an article. According to reports by Valve News Network content creator Tyler McVicker, Valve is currently working on a project codenamed Citadel. Despite its endless calls from fans to make Half-Life 3, there is still little hard evidence suggesting that the studio is ever working on the threequel. McVicker himself says that a small team is working on the... I didn't say that, but the bulk of Valve is focused on Steam Deck-related hardware projects. Anyways, they reached out to Valve, and Valve responded. This was this is likely Casey Ackertson that said this, but quote, "It's good to view Valve News Network content creator Tyler McVicker's coverage with a heavy dose of skepticism. We think it's important to reiterate that while Tyler is a passionate gamer, he has no inside information about what goes on at Valve. As you know, any important announcements on projects that we are or aren't working on will come directly from us." I made a video immediately after where I suggested that the only bit of like insider information that I was claiming that wasn't backed up by data mined leaks, you know, such as Citadel, which was real, was that I suggested that Half-Life 3 wasn't happening. Valve said I was wrong about that, indirectly. Because the video was mostly about how they're working on this Citadel game. And how there was this HLX codename being found. The only thing that I, like, claimed or speculated on or whatever was that they weren't working on Half-Life 3. Was I wrong? I was wrong. That's why I'm the passionate gamer, by the way. White Man Alive, $5 Canadian. Can we get a full 3D scan of the McVicker lair, as you once put it, for Steam VR? Start a stream goal, please. Oh, please. We need a full McVicker immersion. I don't know how I would do a 3D scan of this room. That's fucking weird. Approximately high will HLX system requirements be? This is $7.50 from Hexagonal Goblin. I have no clue. Sorry. I don't know. What about HLX makes you think it's going to be a really good game or a really okay game? I have not speculated that this game will be good. I have only speculated that this game exists. This game could suck. Who knows? Hi, with the current landscape of AAA studios releasing more and more, to be honest, mediocre games for the money they spend developing them, do you think they will force them to lock in? Hi, with the current gaming landscape and AAA studios releasing more and more, to be honest, mediocre games for the money they spend developing them, do you think they will force them to lock in? I don't understand the question. What do you think is the current state of the Pacific Rim franchise? I don't know. Do you think HLX will feature an SDK in Workshop Day 1? No. Parker Miller. Will Nani be getting his own spin-off game now that the Vertigo story is finished? James Reiner, $2. Will this VOD be available? Yeah, I think so. So for those that don't know, I did voice acting for a character in an actual released game called Vertigo 2. And my character is named Nani. And it's an alien. And he talks like this! And it's kind of a big... He's like a main character in the game, which I didn't know doing the voice work for it. I voice Nani! Yeah, Nani's me. I didn't know you didn't know that. But yeah, I voice Nani. Hi. Brian. Brian, my friend, my old friend, Brian. Can you bring me a hot fruit? Yeah, that's me. So, go play the game. It's good. they just released some DLC that closed up the story of the Vertigo franchise, and I did some voice work for that, and they just kind of wrapped up the story. Will Nani get a spin-off game? I don't think so, but I'll ask. Will Nani get a spin-off game? We'll find out. Yeah. If you want to hire me to do voice work, I will do voice work. If you want me to do voice work for free for your mod, let me know. Chicken Jockey. Of what Zen creations do you think HLX will bring back from previous games? Well, we know Hound Eyes, it seems, will be back. But that's pretty much it. Wait, is Portal 3 actually a possibility? Yes. I felt like Portal Reloaded was a valid evolution of the gameplay elements from Portal 2. What would Portal 3's story be? I don't know, but Eric Wolpaw apparently has an idea. I have a question about Anim Graph. Is it widely implemented in most, if not all, Source 2 games? Anim Graph? Yeah. And knowing several updates are made in both Counter-Strike and Deadlock, has there been any documented changes to Anim Graph? Could this possibly affect Half-Life 3 multiplayer / deathmatch if there's... Why would the Anim Graph affect whether or not Half-Life 3 has some multiplayer element to it? We have a lot of questions to get to, and I don't understand yours. Hey, Tyler, how do you type with boxing gloves? I mean copies of Orange Box on. I love you. Thank you for that. Since your first leak video with Zen Gorillas, has anyone given you major flack for claiming that this game could be Half-Life 3? Yeah, Chet Falasek. Are you gonna play Boreal Al if canceled build on stream? Sad it got canceled. Sure. Also, how many times did Gabe say you know? Because I counted 29. The correct answer is 28. You were close. Every time. He's swung bad. Batman. Do you think the plot of Half-Life 3 could involve multiverses? Yes. There's also a popular theory that Half-Life Alyx, that focuses on the level towards the end, vertically mirrored kitchen with a topped open, deployed blue glow, blah, 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 blah. Some theorists believes the blue color is G-Man, 2 different doors, represents 2 different realities and universes. Do you think that theory is plausible? Yes. We talked about it at length earlier in the stream. Goes without saying, but the major retcons that happened at Alyx and the multiple points to a multiverse story. Correct. Challenging plot device. Yeah, I know. Also, do you think the Portal movie will ever relieve development hell? No. Any updates on BOA? No. When will most likely be announced or released? I think it'll be announced sometime in the summer, but that's just a guess. That's just a theory. Do you think the Borealis will be part of the game? I do. Do you think Half-Life 3 will be the last of Freeman's adventures? No idea. I remember you talking about a TF2 community update. You heard anything since then? Yeah, it's the Source SDK, and now you can release shit on Steam. Do you think... Hi, I don't know if you saw this in live chat, but will it look like the Epistle 3 concept art? I don't know. You're talking about the Episode 3 concept art, not the Epistle 3 concept art that was shown in the documentary, and I don't know. Tyler, do the King of Town?
Hello, I like to eat. What? I eat. I am the king of town.
I can't do that. Do I look like I'm them? No, I can't do their fucking voices. Do you have any idea how hard I tried to figure out how to do a Strong Bad impression when I was younger? What was the inspiration for the Nani voice? Oh, because Nani originally had a different voice actor who quit, and I was just trying to emulate that voice. Do Marzipan? It's a wonderful day in Marzipans. Can you do the cheat?
Every time Strong Bad checks his email, a cute fish dies. Hey, Strong Bad.
I don't know how to do Strong Bad. I can do Strong Mad. Can't do it anymore. I could do it when I was younger. I can't do any of these voices anymore. Shit. Do Coach Z? I can't. Hey, you want me to do Coach Zort? Steambox 2 plus Steam Controller 2 plus Half-Life 3 release date. It won't be Steambox 2 and it won't be the Steam Deck 2. It'll be the Steam Deckard. And I don't know. The sentiment I keep seeing in the Valve sphere is any day now. Yes. So much happening. Do you find it likely Half-Life 3 will correlate with a hardware release? It's possible. Unlikely, but it's possible. Is Merle coming back? No idea. There is no Valve employee account under the nickname Yoshi. Do you think Yoshi is just Ice Frog? No. Will Alex have a fully modeled cervix? I hope so. Do you think Valve will create more Half-Life titles after Half-Life 3? Personally, it seems like it will be the end of the story of Gordon, but do you think they will create more media? Oh, man. After Half-Life 3 is out, the future of the Half-Life franchise is up in the air. Who knows? But we're getting Half-Life 3, so let's not count them chickens. Not sure if you'll see this. Heck, didn't even know I could send emails until now. I'm still wondering, did HLX begin development in 2019? Unknown. Possible, but unknown. More than likely pre-production 2020, full production 2021. Hey, Tyler, enjoying the show a lot? Sick helmet you got there. Thanks, man. Sorry I couldn't come up with a better question. What does a real father think about the Hugo Martin song? Oh, he hates it. What's up, Tyler? Hi from Argentina. I love your work. Keep up the good work. Thank you. What things would you like to see in Half-Life 3? In all honesty, mods. I would like to see there be a small to medium-sized healthy community of mod and map makers, at least map makers, and a workshop. That's what I want to see more than anything, is this brand new game, this brand new paradigm, like in the same way that the Half-Life 2 assets have lasted for like 20 years, so too I would like to see these Half-Life 3 assets last until I'm like 60. Do you know what I mean? Hey, Tyler, I'm a pretty big Half-Life fan, really into your HLX series, the progression of it. Thank you. Apologies if you already said this and I don't remember, but I was wondering what enemies are confirmed for the game. Check my list. Hound Eyes, Zen Gorillas, Zen Jellyfish, Zen Swoopers, Combine Chargers, Feral Manhacks, Combine Snipers, Pentatanks, Off-World Workers, Off-World Storks, and Howlers. Maybe. Howlers are a maybe. What do you know about any potential characters that will appear at HLX that were in Half-Life 2? Unknown. I mean, other than like Gordon, obviously. How much will the Deckard be in Europe? I don't know. Do you like the Portal series? Portal 1's my favorite video game of all time. Question for the stream: when are you expecting GTA 6 to come out? I honestly don't know. Big fan of your content. Haven't seen you in the Simple Flip server for a bit. Oh, yeah, I lost access to my old Discord account, so I'd have to be re-added. Wanted to ask, are you pretty tuned into the Episode 3 fan content, like interlude and stuff? Also, I was wondering if you wanted to voice a citizen in an Episode 3 fan project. I'm working on a few months now. I've got a ton of voice actors and musicians and sound designers. Sure. Feel free to add me on Discord. Or wait, I have that turned off. I'll add you. That's fine. Sure. Yeah, the Simple Flips TTT server, I had to leave because I lost access to the account. Good afternoon. Long fan since 2012. Jesus Christ. I believe that within the available text and with some reasonable assumptions, the linear story becomes somewhat clear. Firstly, the audience is unaware of the full extent of the G-Man's power which can be reasonably assumed is much greater than can be discerned from the given text. With that, I believe that all of what we see in the series have been the events foreseen and deemed valuable by the G-Man. The impetus of his interest is the events in Black Mesa, and I think the overarching conflict of the series, one which will come to a head in HLX, is the conflict between the G-Man and Eli Vance. When considering that as the main conflict, a linear reading of the series events can be constructed. G-Man speaks to Eli pre-Residence Cascade. Eli disregards his warning, unforeseen consequences, and Half-Life 1 and 2 happen. Gordon throws a wrench into the G-Man's unknown grand plan, and G-Man ideates some kind of plan. Half-Life Alyx happens, and the G-Man manipulates time to ensure all events still occur to allow for the confrontation in the hangar in Episode 2. Alyx is taken as a form of punishment for Gordon and Eli's incompetence. This gives G-Man leverage to ensure compliance from Alyx, leverage he didn't have with Gordon or Eli. I mean, maybe, man, maybe. You subscribed to my channel on July 26, 2011? That was the day I started this channel. Do you think Nintendo will attempt VR again? Yeah. Been watching you for 7 to 8 years. Learned a lot from data mining. Helped me get a job 5 years ago. Hell yeah. Currently working on a thing. You have quite a few fans here. Is that an announced thing? Oh, it is. Alien Isolation 2 is an announced thing. I've got a lot of fans over at, I'm guessing, Creative Assembly? Not too shabby, if I do say so myself. Never played the first one! 10 Ron? Yo, I just got 10 Ron, dude. 10 of them? 10 Ron? Dude, do you think Gordon will ever find his helmet? Nope. Hey, Tyler, I've been watching you since the early HLVR days. I've noticed there's a lot less reporting of insider information since the release of Alyx. Is there a reason for that, or did you just choose not to report it? Yeah, okay. So, 3 things happened. Number 1, I got reprimanded, and the shit scared out of me by Valve Legal because I took a few steps too far. Number 2, there just hasn't been as much for Half-Life 3. Mostly because people want to protect Half-Life 3 far more than they wanted to protect Half-Life Alyx. Because a lot of the reason why people were talking about Half-Life Alyx is because originally Half-Life Alyx kind of sucked ass. And also I lost access to my Discord account where a few of the people I communicated with were on, and I no longer have contact with them. Ain't that fun? A year ago, I dreamt you streamed a game event. The screen cut to the Half-Life 3 trailer. You cried so much you missed the whole thing and had to rewind it. I believe it was a prophetic dream of the future. Sure. I mean, it's possible, I guess. So the thing is, right, there was some insider information that has since been confirmed through data mine leaks. And I chose not to really go too far with it because of, you know, because of the reprimanding I got. What is the music that starts with the bass that you put in every video? Well, that's called Mozzarella Sticks. It's made by a musician who goes by the name Home. I have used that as my main song for close to a decade now. And it was a song that he did not release. It was just sitting on his Tumblr, where he just posts demos that he doesn't want to put on albums. Yeah. It's called Mozzarella Sticks. It's the same guy that made Resonance. Exactly, yeah. The guy who made this also made this. And I have direct permission to use his music in my videos. I used to be good friends with him, and then he disappeared. You know? He's also the guy that made this song. He also made this. I'm sure everybody has heard this song before. Everybody knows his music. Right? Yeah, so Summoning Salt uses that. Summoning Salt uses a lot of Home music. But Summoning Salt uses released Home music from the 3 albums that Home has released, right? Home hasn't released an album in 8 years? But he just keeps putting out shit on his SoundCloud. Like, there are 3 released albums. 3. With a grand total of 38 songs. 38 songs. I have like 900 songs that I've scraped from his Tumblr, his old YouTube channel, his old Twitter account, his SoundCloud accounts. Yeah, we used to talk all the time. And then some stuff happened, and he's kind of disappeared from the internet. Well, his Tumblr for the longest time was completely empty. He's Slime Tony on Tumblr, which if you're apparently that's like kind of a legendary account on Tumblr. I really wouldn't know. But he's a cool ass dude, man. I do miss him quite a bit. Has he posted any new music? No. He made a song. So, he made a song that sounded like Half-Life 2, and I wonder why. But he made a Half-Life 2 song. This is his attempt to make a song that sounds like the Half-Life soundtrack. Right. And then he also made like in his most recent stuff that was on the Tumblr that I was unaware that he was posting music on Tumblr again. There's one song that's like stupid good. This one? Nope. It's this one. You know that one because I've used it in a lot of videos lately. Yeah. No, like, I miss him. I don't know if I like pissed him off somehow. I don't think I did. But he really like he's not on Discord anymore. Like he's just kind of gone. But I made a thing where I took all of the I'm working so there I've done bootlegs of his music that are out there, and the most popular one is called The Egg Sandwich. And that one is most of the music that I use in my videos to this day, right? So, you know how it is. What can you do?
Welcome back to Poop FM. This is Ty.
What the fuck is that? I don't remember that at all. You put together Egg Sandwich? Yeah, I did. But I made a new bootleg, right? And what if I can find it? think I might have sent it to Lint. Let's check here. Well, if I did, it was a long time ago. Holy shit. I guess I didn't. I thought I did. Where'd you get the companion cube plush? Oh, I sent Dave the music? I thought I sent that to... No? Alright, well, I don't know. I took all of the stuff that was new on his Tumblr and I made a mixtape, but alright, I can't find it. Yeah, where'd I get the companion cube plush? I bought it on the Valve merch store before they closed the Valve merch store. You mean to tell me the speculation music guy is real? Arthur? Yeah, so for the longest time, whenever I did speculation, I used the same song. And it's kind of turned into the sponsored song. So like every time I do a sponsor, I usually use this song. And this video was sponsored by Kiss My Ass. You're right. I've been watching you since 2014-ish or so. I remember commenting you about Dusk back in the day. It was really unknown and only had done episode 1. I mean, I vaguely remember that, I think. Another $5 from Underqualified Gunman. I think you'd like Hideous Destruction because it makes Doom into a tactical shooter ImSim thing. It has destructible sectors and in-depth health mechanics. Hideous Destructor? Hideous Destructor. Oh, wow, it's a Z-Doom mod? Here's my final $10 for today. Play that Poop FM audio in full, please. I'm your biggest fan, and I've been here for every stream. You want me to play the Poop FM track? I don't know what it is, though. I don't... Oh, wait. Is that right?
Welcome back to Poop FM. This is Tyler McVicker, the worst radio station in Night City, and I am your worst radio host. Right here in the heart of Night City. Have you heard the recent news about the Arasaka aircraft carrier? They call it Kujiro, or the Whale. Well, it turns out this fucking massive fucking boat. Okay, I'm gonna be on. My Ripper told me that my medication was gonna cost like 2,000 eddies, and I don't have that kind of cash. So if you can call the radio station and send us your eddies, that'd be huge. We could be reached at 555-495-55495, and just say Tyler sent you. We are out of money. I'm off my medication. And have you heard about this big fucking Arasaka aircraft carrier? It's called Kujiro, or the Whale. It's nuts. Yeah, I was just wondering if anybody wanted to call the station. We never get calls. If we do get calls, it's for complaints, and usually the complaints are about me. What are you gonna do? It's interesting though, because I've studied my whole life and I've worked until I got this job, and it just seems like everybody doesn't want me to do it, and that's fine. But I mean, you can call and request a song. We've got I'm gonna flash back to when I was in my 20s, back in the aughts, as we called it, the 2000s, the early 2000s. I'm like 78, 79 at this point. I've lost my mind, on the brink of cyberpsychosis. You know how it is. I chip in as much as I can. And I just wanted to say, you know, thanks for being you. Thanks for always being there. What was I talking about? Right. Oh, okay. So there's this big Arasaka aircraft carrier out docked in Night City. It's called Kujiro, or the Whale. This is big fuck-ass boat. Oh, we're getting a caller. Hello?
Yeah, fuck you.
And he hung up. Okay.
Man, what a combo of songs.
Don't trust horses.
This guy wants to hear the whole file.
Don't trust horses.
We're not even halfway through.
Don't trust horses. 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 Don't trust horses.
That's the don't trust horses dance. Tyler, you're balding. Thank you.
Don't trust horses.
Here we go! It's Christmas time, the most terrifying time of year. Gather around with your family to listen to the song with the human screams.
Everybody give it up for the human screams. Here they come. Get a load of the human screams.
Well, anyway, now that you've heard the human screams, I would like to thank you for taking time out of your wonderful holiday season to listen to the song with the human screams. And I hope you're in the Christmas spirit now, much like I am. And I just would like to take this time to say, cherish your loved ones. Be thankful for the time you've been given on this earth. And even though it feels like nothing is ever going to get better and the world is just continually getting worse and worse, and there's really nothing good to look forward to. And even though it just feels like every day is just a struggle to want to, even stay awake, you're just sort of like, I'm checked out. Everything's miserable. I'm so scared of being alive. And, I forgot where I was going with that, but, Merry Christmas.
I am out of good ideas. Yeah, I am out of good ideas. I had a good idea once, now I don't have any good ideas. I had a good idea, I've lost all of my good ideas. Oh no, I have lost all of my ideas. Can't think of anything, any new ideas at all. I am struggling to figure out a new idea. All of my ideas. No more new ideas. I couldn't think of any new ideas.
Home of the Playland by the Sea. Pacifica is an upper-class residential area nestled between the cliffs of the Pacific Ocean and Rancho Coronado. Protected by a Militech security contract, Pacifica is a fairly safe place. The newly renovated Playland is a hit among the amusement park crowd from San Francisco and brings a fair amount of tourist traffic up from the south. On the cliffs at Pacifico are the expensive homes and condos of the Coast View development. The entire area has the more relaxed attitude of SoCal and prides itself on being the only place in Night City where anyone can truly relax.
Okay. Well, that cost that guy $10 to listen to that 7-minute file. So. Mr. Rari, can we see the return of Gabe Newell Nippleboy 34 from your Half-Life Redemption stream? When are we gonna get the cup size of Gabe Newell? What? Okay, so here's the thing, right? I've been doing this fucking job, I've been streaming for 11 years. I've been streaming at least once a month for 11 years. And usually much more than that. I don't remember 90% of the shit that happens on these things, okay? Who the fuck is Gabe Newell Nippleboy 34? Who is Gabe Newell Nippleboy 34? Who is that? Who is Gabe Newell Nippleboy 34? And why do we need to know the cup size? Jonathan with the €5, that was a Cyberpunk mod you made. Yeah, I vaguely remember Poop FM. Vaguely remember Poop FM. Never finished it. Let's keep going. Hey Tyler, it's Crazy Dave. I'm so wacky. Anyways, do you think Valve has the balls to include fountain drinks in the Half-Life new video game that releases 8/15/2025 at 12 p.m. Eastern? And what flavor will it be? And also, I really want a Jolly Rancher, like a good one. I'm sorry for filling your email with BS. Also, check out my Xbox TF2 website. It's really epic. TF2XboxNews.com. Thanks, bye-bye. TF2XboxNews.com. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want every single one of you watching to go to TF2XboxNews.com and tell me what you see. Tell me what you see, and this show will continue. Otherwise, we're going to sit here. You think I'm joking? I'm not. Okay, thank you. What do you think of the current state of the Pacific? We answered that already. Do you think Valve will push HLX for Game of the Year against GTA 6? I don't think they care. Do you think it'll be a massive amount of hype considering it's called Half-Life 3? Yes. What areas of development do you think are affected with losing people at Valve? None. Tyler watching the stream now was wondering if you think Merle, the voice actor for Alex, will both be included. I don't know. And that's why I am not showing my screen. Oh, man. Oh, God. Okay. It's exactly what you think. It's exactly what you think. It's exactly what you think. Nope. Yo, it's Lynn. No, it's not. You gonna see that 28 Years Later movie? Probably not. Also, do you think Deckard will be before HLX? Probably, yeah. A couple of months ago, you covered the TF2 Invasion beta that did exist on web. No, it wasn't Invasion. It was Brotherhood of Arms, and we still haven't been able to find it. I've seen you cover HLX and Half-Life updates for a while. Do you think we'll get any leaks or data mines regarding TF2 or other Valve titles? Other Valve titles, yeah. Deadlock, Dota 2, CS2, HLX. TF2 is not being developed by Valve Software. Hi, Tyler. Do you think they'll port Half-Life 2 to Source 2? It's possible. Question, are we going to get Day of Defeat 2? No. Hey, Tyler, I love your content. Been watching you since good old 2015. I know we have info on Deckard can play flat screen games in VR-ish environment, especially those with screenless deck controller render. Yep. Have we had any information supporting the idea that Deckard could act as a replacement for Index? Either like Questlink. Yes, we have. And it will. Was wondering if you know anything about the Max Payne remakes. Nope. What's your favorite TF2 weapon? I'm a diehard Portal fan. Do you believe Cho will appear? Probably. Not probably. It's possible. What's with the Stromboli meme back in the day? Okay, so back in the like it was just to check to see if people were able to hear me. You know? Like, oh, okay, can you hear me? Type Stromboli in the chat if you can hear me. And then it would also check the chat delay. I don't know why I picked the word Stromboli. Probably because I'm a fat, greasy Italian man. But I picked Stromboli because I like Stromboli. I don't know. Would you say HLX's level design format is similar to the first Deus Ex, where it's not open world per se, but the levels are open-ended with different goals scattered across the map? Parts. A few bits of the game. Yes. Yep. Not the majority of the game will be Half-Life, but yeah, there are open zone parts. Yes. $5 Canadian. What is the extra skin on my penis? Is it beta content? Well, if it's still there, then it wasn't cut. Will Valve go through the process of getting In the End by Linkin Park at the end of Half-Life 3? I mean, that would be so fucking based if they did. Why do you think the Deckard will come before HLX? Insider information. That's it. We caught up. So, that's it. I think we did a good job today, don't you think? We streamed for 3 hours and 10 minutes. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Did you read my email about HLX characters? I think so. I read every email I got. Did you ever play the Stanley Parable? Many times. I was formerly friends with the code developer of that game. I think my email went to spam. Nice job catching up, Tyler. Thank you. All right, I'm looking... Oh, there are some spam here. Thanks for all your work, Tyler. I haven't been able to be here for the full stream. I've probably missed a lot, but I came here to ask. Have you received any insider information about other details of Half-Life 3 since the last video? Nope. Hi, Tyler. You mentioned Half-Life Alex on stream. Speaking of which, will ever come out of those talks between Valve and Sony working on PSVR? Probably not. No. Tyler, how do you feel in this moment knowing Half-Life 3 is real? Well, I'm still just as depressed as I normally am, but at least I have something to live for. Hey, Tyler, please leave this question anonymous. Okay. Writing you as you stream, you mentioned something about Young Shell in episode 3. I think you mentioned a former Valve dev took a picture of the files or something. We're going to find the source of this. It was on my Discord server. People were talking about it in my Discord server. Yeah, I think that's everything. Because there were a few... Yeah, there were 3 emails here in the spam folder. Oh, one more. I wonder what would be a good positioning to release Half-Life 1 or 2 to the consoles. I also wonder if the console player base would be interested in these games with very limited support with controllers historically. So, there's one more. Sorry. The Source Engine games have been ported to the Tegra X1 for the NVIDIA Shield for a very, very long time, and that was technically the basis for the Portal Companion Collection. I completely lost my train of thought there. I've been streaming too long. What was the question? Let me go back to the question. Oh, yeah, console release to Half-Life. So Source Engine stuff, like Half-Life 2 and the episodes, ports to the Tegra X1 exist. So you could put those on the Switch. Maybe. Switch 2, you probably also could. Sorry. But Half-Life 1 would take a lot of work. I think if they put Half-Life 3 on consoles, right? If they put HLX on consoles, which isn't out of the question, then I could see the value in also putting the legacy titles on consoles as well. And in fact, I wouldn't be against the theory of the Half-Life 3 version that comes on the disc for the consoles also contains all the legacy Half-Life content. But, yeah, I don't know. Again, there's no evidence to suggest that they're developing it for consoles, but who knows? There's one more question here. Hey, Tyler, I've been watching since Valve Time gave up on making videos. Thank you. Bit of a Hail Mary, but would you know anybody who might own a 2015 HTC Vive dev kit manual? It's lost media that contains a bunch of original Portal infographic style material. The only time it's ever been publicly shown was a few select screenshots from a dev blog of Stress Level Zero's hover junkers. Yeah, I might know somebody. Hold on. I might know a few people. Do you have the original 2015 HTC Vive manual with Portal infographic? It's apparently considered lost media as it contains a lot of Portal themed infographics. And then I'll send that also over. So I'm literally just sending it to Stress Level Zero. I'm sending the question to Brandon JLA. Because that's a good question. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, they found it. Sadly, it's Bradley has it. There you go. Half-Life 3, it'll be cool, I think. I think it'll be cool, I think, too. Uh-oh, someone spammed poop in my forms on my website, and I had to delete it. Thanks, you're welcome. All right, there are more questions coming in. I'm going to call it here. Yeah, thank you for watching. This has been a fun one. This has been a successful one. I appreciate it. You guys are sick as always. I appreciate. Hideous Destructor I'm going to play after this is over because that looks sick as hell. I need to do some email reporting. That was fun. And yeah, love you guys. Peace and hair grease. I'm Tyler McVicker, the Passionate Gamer. We'll be having we got some more videos up in the pipeline here soon, but with Doom the Dark Ages coming out soon, the Doom Marathon will be starting soon. The way that it works, every game that I want to play for the Doom Marathon is on the wheel. We spin the wheel. Whatever it lands on, we play, and then the wheel gets erased. For like $1 or $2 or something, you can pick something to put on one of the pies on the wheel. Once the wheel fills up, we spin again, and we play whatever that is. Needs to stick to theme. I reserve the right to say no. This is done so that we can keep the fucking Subway Surfer attention span people still playing. Still watching, I mean. And also to keep a nice variety of stuff being played. It's also, if what we're playing is really boring and you want it to be over, we can just spin the wheel again. I think it'll be like, I don't know how much it'll be to just spin the wheel immediately because that changes the game we're playing, but there you go. That's the wheel itself, we're testing it. This will be a main part of the time travel show, but for the Half-Life Marathon and the Doom Marathon, we're going to try it for this. Okie dokie then. Peace and hair grease, everybody. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.